Evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Guys Who Stare at Stats, a special edition, if you will. It is an incredible time to be here. I'm Cade Kennedy. I'm joined by not one, not two, but three guests this evening. Connor Gray, Andrew Santangelo, and JD Eddy. This is the super show, officially, I guess you could say. We have four people and a lot more than four games to talk about, I can tell you that much. We have a great show planned. We're going to talk about the USFL, spring college football. The ESPN put out some wonderful strength and power rankings and FPI and a whole bunch of stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, Texas is officially back, just letting you all know. We'll get to that later on in the show. But, hey, I'm not the one who said it.
This is how we're going to start it?
This is not how we're starting it. We're starting with our first topic. Our first topic is the NBA playoffs. We're not going to start with Texas being back. That'll be its own segment that'll go on for an hour because we can all talk about that.
Well, it's just going to be us roasting them the whole time, so.
Listen, Quinn Ewers is actually Vince Young in disguise, apparently, I've been told by Texas people.
Yeah, no.
Sure, let them believe that.
Yeah, we will let them believe that because
they also said Sam Ehlinger was the next Tom Brady.
While they believe that, the Brooklyn Nets defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 1 of the NBA play-in, 115-108. Nets having a phenomenal game. Kyrie Irving, 12 for 15, 34 points. It was a great effort by the Cavs, this young Cavs team, down 22, coming all the way back to make it a game, but Cleveland just not able to complete the comeback.
Brooklyn just out the gate pretty much was beating up on Cleveland for start of the game. Yeah, Cleveland tried to get back in the game, but Brooklyn was really not in any danger of losing that game, even in the final minutes when it was like within just under 10 points.
Well, it was all about the start of that game for Brooklyn. I mean, it all comes down to they had the veterans in that game, and that's where they were able to really take foot in that game with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and that's where Cleveland struggled, obviously having the young guys and key matchups like that. I know it wasn't a do-or-die game yet for the Cavs, and that'll be tomorrow night, but basically for Cleveland, that was their first taste of it, and see if that helps them for the next game against Atlanta.
And then as we move on to the next game here, probably the game of the play-in so far, I would say. Minnesota coming all the way back to get a 109-104 win over the Clippers. I mean, just the environment in the Target Center that night. Patrick Beverley running around doing what he does best, energizing the Target Center. This was a really fun game. This is what the play-in is for. I'll just say that. Games like this, moments like this. I know people made fun of Minnesota acting like they won, the finals and everything, but I mean, you got to remember this franchise.
They haven't been to the playoffs in years.
This franchise has nothing.
Yeah,
they are happy to do anything, and I am proud of them.
The last time this team was relevant was when they had Kevin Garnett, and that was years ago.
Listen, they had Jimmy Butler 1 year.
Dude, it's like someone telling you they're hungry and you give them like 2 packs of bubble gum. It doesn't do anything, bro. It's like okay.
But it's like for Minnesota, obviously if Timberwolves fan, this obviously a great excitement because you're in the playoffs.
I saw Timberwolves fans losing their mind. It was great.
Yeah, but it was like, you're in the playoffs. You have every right to lose your mind, especially after years of just
abuse.
Yeah. Like no one, your franchise being garbage for a long time, and the only great players you had through all those years were when Kevin Love actually was good at basketball, and then Jimmy Butler for 1 year.
I think the funniest part about it, and obviously they have the right to be excited, but the funny part is these don't even count as playoff games. Like, it's not a count. Like, these are the playing games, extended regular season. It doesn't count about playoff wins until you officially get into that next series. So that was the funny part about it. But no, credit to Minnesota for battling. Even when Karl Anthony Towns goes out of the game, still finds a way to get this win. And I mean, it was a very impressive win for Minnesota.
I'd say Karl Anthony Towns fouling out was probably the best thing to happen to Minnesota. He was not having a good game. He was getting straight up bullied by the Clippers at times. They were finding a way to just make him useless and make it a 4-on-5 down there. And then he fouled out. They were able to put anyone in, literally anyone. Jared Vanderbilt, Naz Reid, anyone. And Minnesota was able to go on a comeback.
Man, look at PG finally scoring some points.
Yeah, Paul George dropping 34, but Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, but he just wants to be called Ant. No one calls him Ant-Man except his dad. It's the only guy who can call him Ant-Man, but I'm going to call him it anyway. 10 for 21, but 30 points, and he had some cold threes, I'll say that.
No, he's a fun player to watch. I mean, even with how young he is, I mean, he's an exciting guy, and he's getting this Minnesota team where they need to be. I mean, he's probably the most exciting player on this team. Again, I think even with him, Karl Anthony Towns and Russell, I just think Edwards goes out every night and does his thing, and really he's the guy to watch. That matchup with him and Morant are gonna be pretty fun against Memphis.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. And moving on to last night's games, Atlanta taking on Charlotte, and I mean it was all Atlanta.
Yeah,
This one was just blowout city. Hawks take a 132-103 win over the Hornets. Trae Young doing what he does, dropping 24 points. Atlanta shooting 50% from three. Anytime you get a team that plays that hot, it's not going to be a fun time.
No, it really isn't. Yeah, pretty much just Atlanta just did what they do best and just flat out score on everyone. It's like they're playing like how everyone believed they should have been playing the entire year if they just weren't injured to hell and back.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun time for Atlanta, but now, unfortunately, they're going to have to face reality in a little bit. If they can get there. We'll get to that later on in the show, though. But they may do it. We'll get to that.
So
We got a bold take. Take it a little bit.
Going back to Charlotte real quick. Y'all see what happened after the game?
Was it Miles?
No, LaMelo. Melo got caught smoking a blunt.
Well, actually, Miles actually threw his mouthpiece at a Atlanta Hawks
That too.
fan.
I'm talking about LaMelo smoking a blunt after the game. He got caught.
I
know, but in the NBA they're gonna.
In the NBA
they'll hit him.
They'll whack him down on that, but
yeah.
I mean, it was kind of what you expected. I mean, being a younger team, you never know if they're going to cave in when it's a 30-point game, and unfortunately, that's what happened for them.
Trey shot 40%, man. 30% actually. Take that back.
Now he's struggling. I mean,
33.
he still finishes with 24, but
it wasn't an efficient night at all.
Yeah, he went 8 of 24 and 1 of 7 from 3. So
Still 132 to 103 though.
No, that Atlanta team, when they're playing well, they're a deep team.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when, I mean, everyone plays well for them, all starters in double figures, and even Bojan Bogdanovic, 13 off the bench. I mean, you got Herter with 13, Trae Young, of course, at 24, Capella with 15, Hunter with 22, and Gallinari with 18.
I was like, I thought you said 24.
For Trae Young, I did say 24.
Oh, okay. Points or field goals?
Both. 24 points on 24 shots.
Oh, that's minutes. I'm stupid. I can't see.
Okay.
I'm blind.
It's okay, Jay.
Dude, oh my! I was looking
to
and I was like,
JD, I'm having to look like I'm closest to it, and sometimes that's even hard to read.
I look like my dad whenever he goes
They
like
need to
read a
change-
meme I show him. He's like, yeah, like
This is why I prefer the dark format, black with it's
Fair
Bailey
enough,
black
fair
with
enough.
white.
Well, guess what? We don't do that here.
wow.
We don't do that around here.
I was never mind. Never mind.
We don't do that around here because
I thought I could
it would take 5 seconds, and I'm too lazy to do that.
That's true. I am too.
Moving on to the next game.
Deserve to get slapped, man.
Pelicans 113, Spurs 103. Speaking of black, since we were talking about dark mode, the Spurs going dark. I mean, getting annihilated. It felt like for a little bit. It didn't really show it in the box score, but you just kind of felt it, I guess you could say. It's one of those New Orleans took advantage of them, especially going into the half. But C.J. McCollum dropping 32. I mean, we talked about could he be the guy in New Orleans. Finally, them having someone besides Anthony Davis to carry him. And Anthony Davis was there. Then Zion was supposed to replace him. Zion's had his own injuries and issues, but they finally have a leader or a star again, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So hopefully New Orleans can continue to make some noise.
CJ needed to get away from freaking what's the guy's name?
Damian Lillard.
Yes, he needed to get out from under his shadow, dude. As soon as that happened, he was able to actually get on his own.
Yep.
It's insane.
Damian's the guy that needs to leave next. He needs to do what CJ did. Go find a new home and just dominate wherever he goes.
Yeah.
Are you ready
Yeah.
for the Sixers' big three that everyone kept trying to meme into existence,
Dude,
Andrew?
they did the same thing for the Thunder. Please don't.
What, you don't want Lillard, Harden, and Embiid on one team?
Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it's going to be Lillard. It sounds like it's going to be Bradley Beal. So is the big
That
rumor
actually
right now.
makes sense. I like that a lot more. Bradley Beal can work with other people.
Listen, they're going to have to find a way to get 3 basketballs on the court at once. That's all I'm saying. If they can figure that one out.
Space Jam?
I mean, if they do, if they do Space Jam logic, then, I mean, anything's possible.
I mean, I can dunk from half court, too.
With the power of CG, anything's possible. Except Michael Jordan actually did it. We don't want to talk about that.
Right after he went back to his basketball game. Baseball game, I bet.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. But moving on to the future now, going from the games that happened to the games that will happen and will be played. Prediction time, I guess you could say. The 8th seed game in the East, 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. Atlanta going to Cleveland. Cavaliers trying to rebound. Atlanta trying to keep the momentum. As you look here at the little matchup predictor, dead even almost, 50-50 for either side. Cavs are a 2-point underdog at home. Atlanta favored to win this one. And you see the injury list. No Jarrett Allen again for the Cavs. Bogdan Bogdanovic day-to-day for the Hawks. And some injuries they already still were dealing with. No Lou Williams, no John Collins, no Shondy Brown Jr. So as we go into this game, the young Cavs team, I know we've talked about him, Darius Garland continuing to play well, Evan Mobley playing well, Trae Young being Trae Young. Who do y'all have winning this one?
Just Trae Young.
Just Trae Young?
Just Trae Young. That's it.
Atlanta doesn't advance. It's just going to be Trae Young versus the Heat.
It's literally just 5 Trae Youngs with Rogaine in his hand, and they all say, hey.
Well,
Trae Young versus Miami, just the
Trae
entire.
Young versus his hairline, dude.
But
Sorry, go ahead, my bad.
for this matchup, obviously Cleveland's still a really talented team despite not having despite missing a guy, and in Atlanta still shot very well against Charlotte, but obviously you need Trae Young to shoot more efficiently if you want to really beat up on the Cavs, but Cavs will make Atlanta work for those shots, and obviously this is a very, very close one, but I think Atlanta edges out Cleveland.
I'm going to take Atlanta as well. I think it's going to be – I think Atlanta's going to control most of this game. I think they're going to jump out fast. They're going to kill the crowd pretty early. I think Atlanta's a deeper team. I get they're missing John Collins, but like you mentioned, Jared Allen's out for the Cleveland, and I like Mobley, but I think that the do-or-die game is going to get to him a little bit. Again, Atlanta was here last year. They made the Eastern Conference Finals before losing to the Bucks. They know how to win games in April, so I think that all is going to contribute to Atlanta's victory here, and I think there's a deeper, better team, so I'll take Atlanta by 7 or 8 points.
Who'd they play last game? Atlanta?
Atlanta played Charlotte.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They're going to blow them out. They're going to absolutely beat the crap out of the Cavs. It'll be great.
Okay.
It's gonna be great.
You're picking a blowout?
I mean, not a blowout. It's definitely going to be close for maybe the first 2 quarters.
Okay, so you're picking one of those runaway in the second half type of games for Atlanta.
Because I think Trae Young's going to go back in there and get his daily shot of testosterone and going to come back out as a new man.
You're getting in the not conspiracy.
I know it's all jokes, man. I know. The dude's good.
We know.
The dude is good.
He leads his team. He tries to, at least. It's hard to when you're constantly getting hated on. Honestly, it kind of gets to you. And I bet it got to in the first half of the season, but now he's kind of like, hey.
Yeah, then he went and decided to own the city of New York a second time, and that made him the man he is today.
It's just like how the Nets haven't lost to the Cavs since they had that one play.
Yeah.
Was it beginning of the season? Freaking off the backboard behind the back. Dude, it was insane.
Yeah. But we're all in agreement then, because I think Atlanta gets the win here. I think it'll be a tight game for a little bit, but Atlanta, I think, will pull as our studio falls apart here nearly on us.
Dude, it literally tipped, and I got scared.
Yeah, this is why the mic has to be on a certain
plane
here.
Yeah.
Yes, whether that be physically or spiritually, I don't know yet. But
Kate, you might want to change the thing on the screen. Because we're still stuck on the...
Yeah, I know we're still... I know what...
no one's seeing this.
I know. Anyway, as we were going, I think Atlanta will get the win here. This will be one of those fun games. I think the Hawks are going to get the job done. And as we move on to the next game here, the Pelicans and the Clippers, this will be another fun one. Clippers trying to bounce back after a rough one. Pelicans trying to keep momentum going. Paul George going up against C.J. McCollum should be a fun one here. As we look at it, Clippers are a 4-point favorite at home, according to Vegas. Basketball Power Index also agrees. Everything seems to agree. Can Reggie Jackson and Paul George put together a good enough game to stop a surging New Orleans team?
Maybe.
That's a good answer, Jake.
No, really.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, Clippers more should have actually not be in the situation. This probably should have been the Timberwolves, because they were winning the game against Minnesota and then just gave it away. But I think Clippers, overall are going to be a more sound team, especially with Paul George and Reggie Jackson doing their thing. And a lot of those guys being able to keep everything together for them to even at least be able to get back in the playoffs. So, and I know New Orleans had a great last game to get themselves in position for this, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think even if C.J. McCollum does well, I think Clippers as a whole team will be too much for them.
I think McCollum and Reggie Jackson are a underrated matchup in this game. I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. I think Paul George is going to be too much for the Pelicans. I think Tyronn Lue, an experienced coach, versus a rookie and Willie Green is also going to be a big difference in this game. So I'm going to take the Clippers, taking advantage of home court here, and I like LA to get the win.
I'm just going with what you said. I'm really just going to go with what you said, honestly.
He has nothing else to
add. Y'all basically named off everything. I was just going to bring up the fact that PG, since he left OKC, has been pretty efficient. I mean, but except for, last year when – never mind. But everything happened. But, yeah, this year he hasn't been bad.
I mean, he hasn't. Ever since he came back, the Clippers are trying to get to that next level, and I think they'll be able to get there against New Orleans. I've also got the Clippers winning this one.
Kawhi's still injured, right? Or did he get traded?
Yeah, Kawhi's still –
Kawhi's probably –
He got traded to the injured reserve.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
don't even remember him being on the team anymore.
Kawhi's probably done for this. He's not even going to come back.
I don't know.
I think he might retire, for being honest, which is the way everything's going.
You think so?
Yeah, he may. There's always a chance, man.
I mean, there's always a chance, but I don't think that
he's going to leave behind a pretty good legacy, for being honest.
He will.
Really.
He absolutely will.
He could easily come back next year and just extend it, but I mean, he hasn't broken any major records yet, besides defensive stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
The thing with him is nobody knows. He shows no emotion.
I know.
He keeps the straightest face. Nobody knows whether he's liking them, whether he's not.
Yes.
When you see him laugh, it's like he's forced out. It's like, what's the defense system? He's looking for weaknesses.
This man don't know how to laugh.
He's secretly the Terminator. We all know this. This man has no emotion.
We could plug this one in.
No. But as we still try to get things put away in the stereo here, I do want to get to the actual NBA series now, and we'll kind of go over every single one of them. We can break it down as much as we want here. Starting with, we'll go in order of time here. Game 1 of the NBA playoff calendar is going to be the Utah Jazz coming into Dallas, taking on the Mavericks. No Luka Doncic in Game 1. Luka's still dealing with the ankle or calf sprain there is what is officially called. No Maxi Kleber as well for the Mavs. But Donovan Mitchell also day-to-day for the Jazz. Got to keep that one in mind. And so it will be an interesting one. As I said, Jazz are a 5-point favorite without Luka. And I'm interested to see what y'all think about it.
I mean, that makes sense. Luka. Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead, man. Really.
I'm going to say in this game, I still like Dallas. I think even without Luka, they're going home. Jason Kidd, I get it. He struggled out in Milwaukee, but he seems to be a lot better, more mature coach now since he's been with Dallas. There always seems to be an issue with the Jazz come playoff time, whether it's Mitchell, whether it's Rudy Gobert. They never seem to click. There always seems to be something wrong. Obviously, last year they were high ranked in that West, and it just didn't go through with them. I like how deep Dallas can go. And one thing, and I know we've talked about this before, Cade, on Mondays, is how good that Dallas defense can be. Honestly, that's probably Luka's weakness. So I get his scoring is going to be tough to overcome, but I think they're well balanced in that category, and I think they're going to get this win through defense.
I mean, I think without Luka, your whole stat line is gone. I mean, look.
I mean, you look at that though, but I can kind of break this down a little bit more. I mean, the whole stat line is down, which means we're going to see a combination of Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie at point guard, and maybe even using both of them as point and shooting guard, as the Mavs have liked to do at times. It's going to be hard for the Mavs, obviously.
Yeah.
But Luka being out will allow them, I think, to be a bit more defensive of a team, and if they can use that energy not trying to fix Luka but trying to shut down Donovan Mitchell, because honestly, if you think about that, if you shut down Donovan Mitchell, who else on that team is going to burn you besides maybe Mike Conley sometimes? Nobody. I mean, the only struggle is going to be Rudy Gobert because the Mavs honestly do not have a whole lot of bigs. I'll say that.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But the Jazz are the Jazz, and they don't always use Gobert properly.
The Jazz they're gonna get out. They're gonna rebound Dallas the whole
Which
game.
is what you mentioned, Andrew, with something always seems to happen to the Jazz. That could be it. I mean, there's been rumors the whole year about Mitchell and Gobert. Do they even get along? Does anyone like Rudy Gobert? I like him. I think he plays good defense.
Nobody
but
likes Rudy Gobert, man.
And then, well, another thing is, it sounds like Quinn Snyder might be going out. There's all the rumors
Yeah.
about him taking the LA job now that that's
Yeah.
open. So like, it's already starting out there in Utah. And like you said, I think Spencer Dinwiddie, he's one of the more underrated players in the league. I mean, I told you I love that trade when they traded it for Porzingis for him. I think that was an upgrade for him. And listen, I get it. It's college, but Jalen Brunson's been there. He won 2 championships with Villanova, so he's used to the big moments. I don't think it's going to phase him in that sense. So I think he's ready for the challenge. I think Spencer, that guard backcourt duo is just as good as a Conley and Donovan Mitchell. So I think, again, obviously you're going to miss Luka, but I think they're still going to be able to overcome it, especially in the first couple games. Even if they just split and go to Utah, get Luka back, I think that's a win for Dallas.
I think so. Dallas does traditionally struggle at Utah. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's altitude. I don't know what it is. But
Definitely.
they need to at least get one win without Luka. And I think if they can do that, not only are you 1-1 going into Salt Lake City, but you've just the confidence booster that can be.
Yeah.
Knowing you won a game without your best player, when you get him back, it's game on.
Yeah.
It's absolutely game on because we know Luka's ability to torch people. He will go hunt someone down and go out of his way to pretty much do whatever he wants with them. So I think if Dallas can get that going, would not surprise me if they lost game 1, but I still have faith in the Mavs in 7.
That's if Donovan Mitchell actually plays game 1. If he's not playing game 1,
If Donovan Mitchell isn't playing, Dallas might. If Donovan Mitchell does not play game 1, Dallas might make this bad.
I mean, you got to think they rely on Luka for almost everything.
Yes.
Literally everything. It's just like having in the 2000s, whenever Redskins had Sean Taylor, they had something to play off of. That sounds bad, I know. They had something to play off of. Obviously, they're going to have him in the back.
Who is this Redskins? I only know the Commanders.
Stop it. No, you know what I'm talking about. And no, it says Washington Redskins. So, I mean, we're good.
You mean the
But
team
no.
formerly known as the Washington Football
It's just
Team.
like that. Whenever they went on defense, guess who they relied on almost all the time? Sean Taylor.
Yep.
Every time they went on the field.
But, yeah, I think with this one, it's like if Luka and Donovan are not playing game 1, I think Dallas will probably take that. And obviously, I think they might bring them back for game 2. That will probably be back and forth affair. That could probably go either way. But I think in the end, I think Dallas will probably take the series, especially with the home advantage.
Alrighty. So, are we all in agreement on Dallas winning the series? I know we've talked about game 1 itself, but what about series?
Dallas and 5.
Dallas and 6.
Maybe. I'm going, dude, honestly, Dallas is going to get out rebounded at every single turn
Alrighty.
without Luka. Like you
So,
said, they don't have a lot of big men. They have Rudy
So-
Gobert.
Yeah, so blank and blank. Who and what?
I'm saying Rudy's going to be the main reason that they can pull out a small
I'm saying
win.
who is going to
Who's
win and
going to
how
win the
many
series?
games?
Utah in 7 probably.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
It'll come down to the wire. But I mean,
Okay.
like you said, Dallas can shoot without Luka. But I mean,
I know.
rebounding is going to be the worst thing. They're not going to be able to get any shots back.
It's going to be a world of pain for me watching this Saturday because it's going to be like, there's Luka.
Constantly
He can't
in pain.
help us.
What? Go ahead.
Can't help
Go ahead.
It's gonna be sad
Oh.
unless they somehow win.
At 7 o'clock, do y'all want to watch like the best football of all time? SNU is having their spring game.
Listen, we got the Northwestern spring game at 3. We got other.
That's Saturday, man.
That is Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get towards the
I
end
just thought
of
I'd
the
bring
show.
it up now.
You did decide to bring it out, but
Fair enough. Let's go ahead.
yeah, we're gonna get back to Minnesota taking on Memphis. This will be the game immediately following Utah and Dallas. Minnesota, out of the blue, kind of becoming a trendy upset pick after that win over the Clippers. People believe in this T-Wolves team, but can they beat John Morant's squad? A team that can absolutely dominate you in so many ways. Memphis is a 7-point favorite for game 1. We can kind of break it down what we think will happen in game 1 and the series itself.
I really don't think this is going to be that hard of a series for Memphis because the team plays just as well with or without without Morant.
You could almost say they play better without Morant.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
Easy on that.
Almost.
I would say-
Almost say. The record shows.
Well, yeah.
But basically, though, I think it'll probably be a good game 1 for back and forth with both teams. But Memphis is just going to be way too much for Minnesota to handle, and I'm just going to give it away already. I have Memphis winning in 5.
Alrighty.
I think I agree. I think Memphis is going to control the series, but I think it's going to be one of those weird things just because of the Minnesota hype right now and how hot they're playing. I think they find a way to steal game. It's going to be one of those, like, they steal game one, but that's it. Like, they'll find a way.
It's going to be the Orlando Magic thing where they win the first game and then nothing happens.
That's what I was about to say.
They'll find a way to take game one just because, the hype around them. They're a hot team coming off that play-in win and everything. But then after that, Memphis makes the adjustments, and I'll agree, they still take it in 5. But I think Memphis is just too deep with Steven Adams, Desmond Bane, and John Morant.
I mean, I'm just going with what you said. I defer to your judgment, sir.
Well, if I'm wrong,
like he said, Minnesota will probably win the first game.
Yeah.
Like you said, and then just like the Magic did, what was it, 98 or 2001? I can't remember what year it was. I think it was
Insert
01.
any year Orlando makes the playoffs, literally.
I think it was 01 or no, 98 when they still had Shaq, and they made it in, and they won the first game, like you said, and then after that it was just kind of
My favorite was when they beat the Raptors and like DJ Augustine went for like 30.
Yeah.
And they won the first game, and everyone couldn't believe it. It was like, are the Raptors frauds? And then they went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. Yep.
Then they beat the Magic by 20 the next game, and everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, and then they just shut down. After they lost that one, it's a killer.
I feel like Minnesota will do two things here. I agree that they'll probably somehow get a game 1 or game 2 upset. They'll split it going back to the Target Center. I think they'll win game 3. Everyone will be hyped for Minnesota. They will completely blow game 4 in a embarrassing fashion, and then Memphis will hammer them in game 5, and then we'll be done in 6. That's what I think will happen. I've seen this happen before with teams that get this big kind of hype train going with them, that they will play well originally, but they'll get one kick in the teeth, and they will completely fall.
That's what happens when you have a semi-young team. Carlton Towns is not young by any means anymore. But, still at that point, they're going to give up second they get into adversity.
Yeah.
It's going to bite them right in the bud.
Yeah, then it's going to turn to Patrick Beverley versus the entire Memphis Grizzlies organization.
That was impressive and also fun to watch.
It was fun to watch. So we're all in agreement that Memphis takes this one. Moving on to the next series to go, we're going to jump over to the East real quick because ESPN likes to not make all conferences on one day.
Fair.
Got to get them TV ratings in.
Yeah, I know.
We got to talk about a certain someone's team here. Toronto going to Philly, taking on the Sixers. I've seen a lot of people on the fence about this one, saying this is going to be one of the best matchups in the first round. Sixers are a 4.5-point favorite in game 1. Can Joel Embiid and James Harden come together and deliver a win over Pascal Siakam?
Actually, maybe.
I'll let you guys go first.
Alrighty.
Go ahead, man. You're closer to the TV screen.
There we go.
No, obviously Philly dealing with a few injuries, but nothing. Mainly dealing with some role players.
When Paul Millsap's your biggest day-to-day concern, I think you're in a good spot.
Yep, and then Toronto's only missing one guy.
But that's Fred VanVleet, so that could be a problem.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But I think Philly, overall talent-wise, I think it should win this series with not as big of issues, but obviously Toronto's still a really good basketball team. No, Joel Embiid will still be Joel Embiid. Harden will be shooting just as well as he usually does. And really, just not really much to say about this. I think Philly takes us in 6.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun series. It's a rematch of a few years ago. Obviously, everyone remembers the Kawhi shot that knocked the Sixers out. So it's going to be a fun rematch there between the two teams. Both cities are going to be ready for it. I think, real quick, it is funny that they don't count James Harden as our leading assist guy.
Well, he wasn't there enough,
I know, but
I guess.
his assist, something his season stats would count, though. It's not like it can be thrown out the window. But
it makes Tyrese Maxey look good.
But, hey, I love Maxey, but I just thought that was funny.
I think they're trying to show that they don't just rely on him and Harden all the time.
Yeah, maybe. But, no, I think the Sixers, I think they'll come out fine in this series. I'm not overly worried about this one. I'm more worried about going forward in terms of, obviously everyone talks about the chemistry between Embiid and Harden. Is it where it's at, where it should be? And I think they'll be fine. I think it's a little bit overblown with all that and stuff. And everyone makes the jokes about Harden playoff time. We'll see what Harden shows up. But, I think that's Joel's going to go out and do his thing. Max is going to do his thing. It is going to come down to, is James Harden going to be his normal self, or is he going to be that playoff guy everybody talks about? Because you're not going to win a series with one guy. Like, that's just the way the NBA works. You need more than one guy, and sometimes you survive it in the first series. Usually, if you have the better guy, you can win that first one. But going forward, you obviously need everybody. So it's this series will come down to what James Harden's able to do, especially with Fred VanVleet out for that first game. We'll see how long he's out in the series. But if Harden doesn't show up, it could go downhill. But I think Harden shows out, and I'll take Sixers in 5.
All right. I mean, James Harden, they asked him today about, the pressure going in the playoffs. What pressure? I'm ready to ball.
It's fair.
That's what he said.
That's good. That's good confidence you need.
That's what he – see, I always take that stuff by players, like – with a grain of salt. Like,
yeah.
I think they know by now, especially a veteran like him, he knows what to say in front of the media.
Yeah.
But, and maybe it's different with the pressure, but, like, especially the stuff when they're like, oh, we don't pay attention to those numbers and everything.
You absolutely do.
Yeah, they absolutely
definitely
do. So, part of me thinks, okay, he's just saying that, but, like, he knows what city he's in now. He knows, like, if he chokes and falls apart, like.
Don't be Ben Simmons.
He knows Philadelphia is not going to take that lightly. Like, no, don't be Ben Simmons. We'll see if he actually shows out in Game 4. But I love that. Ben Simmons is going to play in Game 4 through 6, somewhere in there. That's what the rumor was today. I'll believe that when I see it.
Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, that's what's going to be with him. But this is going to be a fun series.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, no, I'm taking 6s and 5.
6s and 5.
Actually,
All right.
I'll go 4.
You go 4. You're going with
for a
sweet.
sweet.
My heart can use that.
Sweet.
Might as well. I don't want to say it, but I mean, man, like, I have all the faith in Toronto I can, but
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Toronto to know if they're any good. I don't really watch them.
I feel like outside of Pascal Siakam, your other main guy to worry about is VanVleet. But if he's not playing,
you have a
then
clear shot almost.
I mean, who's going to kill you? Scotty Barnes? Is that who's going to kill you?
Yeah, dude. He's coming in.
I'm going to say, who's going to destroy the Sixers?
Dare you
Harden,
insult my hero.
I mean, Harden does not even need to play well, I think, if VanVleet's out. If you can just stop Siakam and let Embiid do what Embiid does, which, I mean, he's going to get his 30. That's just going to happen.
James snacking, baby. That man got... Never mind, let's go ahead.
Yeah,
My bad.
but
let's get off his weight.
I'm going to go with Philly in 5. As much as I want to say Sixers in 6 just because it's a fun saying to say, I got to go with Philly in 5.
You can say it in the next series.
Okay, the next series.
Wow, I'm the one who's giving Toronto a little too much more credit.
Well,
by having only
we
win
could
2
all
games.
be wrong is the fun part about
I'm thinking
this.
Toronto holds it close and then just immediately gets their spirits crushed.
One final factor real quick in that Sixers series will be Matisse Thybulle, the Sixers' best defender, will be out for all games in Toronto.
Yeah, that
so
will be a factor.
I'm interested to see how that does play a factor. Scoring-wise, Sixers won't miss a beat. But defensively it will be a big loss. But here's the thing. I don't know how serious that VanVleet, like if he's going to be out all series or not, but that's probably who Thybulle would guard. So that makes me feel a little bit better if he's not going to be playing either.
So why is he out exactly in Toronto? Is because of their COVID regulations?
Yeah, COVID regulations.
He has one. He admitted to it. He only got one vaccination.
Weren't the rules the same as what New York had?
No, Toronto. You can't even get into Canada. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they shut down. They shut down foreign housing affairs. 2 people can buy houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no one for 2 years. It's kind of crazy. They're really locking it down in there.
Well, that's enough about Canada and politics.
Love
Back
Canada.
to Denver and Golden State.
Yeah, Golden State.
This is going to be a entertaining series, especially when Steph Curry gets back. He will be out for a little bit. Andrew Wiggins being day-to-day.
Yep.
Warriors are still a 6.5-point favorite in Game 1. That really tells you all you need to know about this Warriors team.
Yeah.
And this Nuggets team, missing some of their best players. No, Facu not going to be there. Campazzo, he's out for Game 1 for how he acted at the end of the Lakers game.
Uh-oh.
Against Wayne Ellington, you don't just shove a guy in the back. I would prefer if players did not do that unless they're trying to recreate Mouse at the Palace, which should probably not be done ever. But the Nuggets can be summarized in 4 words. Nikola Jokic, and even more Nikola Jokic.
Joker.
That's what he does.
That's 7. That's 8.
Listen, I decided to add on. I made 2 sentences.
Science is ever changing.
Science is ever-changing. This is true.
All right, go ahead.
Modern problems require modern solutions. That's all I'm
Improvise,
saying.
adapt, overcome.
There you
But
go.
I'm not going to lie, without Nikola, just Denver ain't in the playoffs at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
he
really.
has carried this team with a Herculean effort, and it's still probably, unfortunately for them, may not be enough to beat the
Honestly.
Warriors.
You're right on that.
I mean, Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole, of all people. Jordan Poole's been playing amazing for the Warriors.
Clay came back with a vengeance. Man.
He did. I mean,
if those if those 2 guys are still playing really well, I think they'll definitely be a big boost for Golden State, especially when you don't have Curry, who knows how long he'll actually be out. Because you don't know if he'll actually make it back, at least within the series.
The fact they didn't put day-to-day is what shows you how long he's going to be out. He may be out for the whole series.
I mean,
honestly,
he's scrimmaging right now, and they're talking about, a possible minutes restriction maybe for later on in the first round. But
you probably might want to wait to do anything with him until late. It's depending on how long the series goes. But I know Jokic will still be Jokic throughout the whole thing. But obviously, it's a matter of does the rest of his teammates step up to help him out. And they have the capability of doing it. Like they're not a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. The issue is that there's just no other superstar that's just not Nikola Jokic. But so it's basically just a matter of how well does everyone else play around him. But I think in the end, this will be a really tight series. I'm probably going to be. It might be a little different than your guys' takes, but I think this might go to 7 games.
I actually don't disagree with that. I think Denver's good enough to make a run for it. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be good enough to win this series, but I think they definitely can make it one.
Sorry. Okay. I think if they do win the series, they're not going to make it out of the second round because of who they'll have to probably play. But I'll probably just go and get the prediction out of the way. I think the Warriors will actually win this in 7. So continue. Sorry, I interrupted you.
You're good. No, here's the thing with Curry. You don't even need him to move. Just throw him in the corner, let him hit every corner 3 he takes.
No, really.
That's all you need to do.
The Steph Curry strategy is just have him as a decoy because he's Steph Curry.
It's like playing basketball on the Atari, man.
Yeah,
freaking corner 3 glitch.
Yeah, you can't do that. And even if Wiggins gets back, it'll be the same way. You don't even need them to do anything. You just need one guy on that floor to get hot.
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the thing. I think it's a shame both teams aren't fully healthy because it would be a fun series. I do think Denver's higher, and I don't even Golden State. They might have been able to get a 1 or I don't know if they've been able to catch the Suns, but maybe the 2 with Memphis. So it is a shame to see both these teams a little banged up, but I think it will be a series. I think Golden State's going to take it in 6, but I think all the games are going to be close.
Yeah, fair enough. I think they take it in 6, just like he said. Like really. I mean, even without Steph Curry, they're going to be raining threes on Denver the whole time.
Well, as long as Klay Thompson does Klay Thompson.
Well, he would, dude. He's
I know Klay will do what he does best.
He's a very, very consistent shooter. That's his thing. Even if he's having a bad game, he won't miss an open shot. Like really.
Hopefully.
You gotta hope. But
well, yeah. Well, if you want someone to shoot a consistent shot for you every single time,
I think
I'm choosing Klay.
Klay might have one bad game, but every other game he's going to.
And then the next game he drops
he's going to drop
the most points in a quarter.
He's going to drop like 40.
That's what I'm saying. He'll drop like 62 in a quarter. Like it's insane, dude.
Yeah.
What did he drop? 45 in a quarter?
It was 40.
I think so. He
I
broke the
record.
record.
It was 48.
He broke his own record for a quarter.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He did.
And then he tore his ACL at the end of that year.
Yep.
So that's it's kind of like when Adrian Peterson. Never mind. Let's go ahead. I'm not gonna talk about it. I don't want to start talking about it again. I have a lot of things to compare it to. We're good.
Okay.
Well, the big thing with this series is it's not going to be like Klay Thompson's going to get his own, but my thing with this is it's going to come down to the role players of the Warriors because if they're struggling early, Denver can throw everybody on Klay. Like if Poole and them are struggling out of the gate and they're struggling to make shots, you're going to double team Klay every time he's at the 3-point line. Because let's face it, like he's a good defender and everything, but he's not going to dribble through anybody. He's not going to do all that. He's going to be a spot up shooter. So if you're able to just contain and move everybody else to Klay, that's where the Warriors can find themselves in trouble. And that's where the Curry injury could hurt is how much those role players are going to have to step up now.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's true. I think that's overall. Well, yeah, the Golden State really they're number 3, right?
Yeah, Golden State's 3 seed.
The 3 seed, but obviously that was off the backload of just Curry just going off. Curry just playing really well, and obviously Draymond doing what he needs to do, and then Wiggins every now and then showing brilliant flashes of brilliance that of him being a good player. But yeah, like you said, Andrew, that could really affect Golden State, and if that works most of that series, yeah, Denver will definitely take advantage and probably take the series. But I think if Steph can at least play on a limited amount of minutes, that will just be enough to really help them out because all you need Steph to do is just shoot, and he'll pretty much make it.
But I really don't know how to feel about this series because I think the Warriors will win. I just don't know how it will be. Because I could see a scenario where they beat the Nuggets in 5 and, Clay goes for 30, Jordan Poole goes for 30, Curry and Wiggins come back earlier than expected. I could see that happening. But I could also see they try to give them as much rest as possible and the Nuggets take it to 7. So I'm going to say Warriors in 6 just for the nice, happy, neutral ground there. But, this series could actually be anywhere, in my opinion. Anywhere with the Warriors winning. They could even sweep for all I know. Jordan Poole could drop 40 a night somehow. With the way he's been playing, nothing would surprise me in that series.
All right, this could turn into one of the worst series, or it could turn into the second best series.
Mm-hmm. Really?
It really could. And then, not going to put it on the big board for you guys to look at, but Miami being the 1 seed in the East.
Really?
Sunday at noon, they will get either Atlanta or Cleveland. Whoever wins that game gets Miami. So we can debate the hypothetical of, does it matter? Does it matter if the Heat win that series, whether it be Cleveland or Atlanta? Does it change Miami winning that series?
I don't think it changes Miami winning the series. I think it changes how competitive the series will be.
Yeah.
I think, I understand Cleveland has been playing overall better basketball, but that's because they haven't really dealt with a bunch of injuries to them that have affected their entire season, while Atlanta has basically had to play themselves back to even get where they're at right now. And they're still missing a few players that they really need. Because hypothetically, if they weren't dealing with injuries, Atlanta would have been one of the games we talked about, probably for one of the Saturday games. But Miami still wins the series. But I think if they get Cleveland, it'll be either a sweep or 5. But if they get Atlanta, that could be 5 to 6 games with Miami winning. And I think the games will be closer with Atlanta.
Alrighty.
Well, I told you guys before the show, I think Atlanta wins tomorrow. And then, yes, Atlanta will pull off the upset over the Heat. Like you guys mentioned, Atlanta's been banged up a little bit. They're starting to play their best basketball. I have trouble fully believing in Miami. I get to the 1 seed. But I think there's something about this Atlanta team. They know how to win in April. We saw what they did last year. They came back from 3 different 20-point deficits in the playoffs in one series to come back and beat the Sixers and win in 7 in that series. I think that Trae Young, he struggles shooting sometimes in efficiency, but no matter what, he finds a way. He can shoot 1 for 15 from 3, but he'll find a way to still get his 25 points, which is just crazy to me. But I think Atlanta will. And so to answer your question, yes, I think it does matter because I don't think Cleveland wins a full series against Miami, but I do think Atlanta does. So if I'm picking that, I think Miami would beat Cleveland in 6, but I think Atlanta beats Miami in 6.
Alrighty.
What's that, man?
Hello there.
Yeah, no, 100%. Atlanta's going to be a better game, by far.
Yeah.
Oh, because you got to think, Cleveland's a young team.
Yes.
You're going up against Miami. Who's obviously got a few guys who have played in the league for, 3-4 years, 5 years, give or take. They've got some experience on their side. Mm-hmm. And with that, they're going to be able to just pick them apart left and right if Cleveland gets in. If they manage to upset Atlanta, if they do.
Yeah.
But I think Atlanta will be a better game. Trae Young can actually match up with those guys. Their big men are actually not terrible. Even though they do have dealt with injuries, like he said, it's kind of going to be – it's just a coin toss who wins the game at this point.
Yeah.
But I want Atlanta to win. It'll be better. It'll be a more competitive game to watch.
Yeah. I'm a Trae Young supporter.
Yeah.
I think being an OU fan, you kind of have to.
Yeah, he came from Oklahoma.
I would love to see Atlanta go on a tear again. I think they beat Cleveland, like we all said. I think they take Miami to 7. I don't think they win the series, but it would not surprise me if they took it to 7. If Cleveland gets in, I think Miami sweeps them.
All right.
That's what I personally think happens. It would not surprise me. Miami can absolutely look dominant, but they do have a lot of flaws at times. But moving on to the 2:30 game Sunday, one of the most fun matchups, and I mean every matchup's fun in the playoffs, but probably the one that intrigues me the most is Brooklyn and Boston. This is a 2-7 that does not feel like a 2-7.
This feels like a 4-5 matchup, or two teams that are meeting up in the third round of the playoffs.
It does. I mean,
but,
no Ben Simmons for the Nets. Still, what a surprise
what
there.
What a shocker.
But I mean, the Celtics really don't have any big injuries. I mean, Robert Williams III is your big one there with center. But other than that, Celtics going to be a 4-point favorite in game 1. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown versus Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Just the star power in that matchup alone.
My first words were, how in the world does ESPN's matchup predictor have the Celtics at 83% for this game?
Because the Celtics are advanced metrics love the Celtics. They've been playing extremely well. They're well-rounded. They see no faults. Celtics good.
I get that, but
Celtics good.
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Okay, but the biggest issue with this is that you got to be able to contain Kyrie Irving and Durant, obviously. And I know Jason Tatum and company will play well. I know they've been playing much better defensively with Marcus Smart actually expanding. Actually, instead of trying to be a much of a scorer, he's actually been better on defense as a whole for at least more of the back half of the year. But this is going to be a great matchup. This is going to be one of those games. I think a series that goes to 7, and I really think I'm gonna pick an upset here. I have Brooklyn upsetting Boston in 7 games.
I agree with an extent. I'm gonna go Celtics in 7. I think this series is gonna be the best of the first round. I think this honestly could go down. I mean, obviously, we'll see what the other matchups are, but this could go down as the best series overall in the playoffs. To be honest, depending on how all the other ones shake out. I mean, the Brooklyn hasn't been healthy, hasn't been healthy most of the year, and obviously the Kyrie drama all season. They've missed him, but Boston won 3 out of 4 games in the regular season. But I think with all the things that have happened through the regular season, I think you can throw those games out the window almost. And I think this is where Kevin Durant's going to show up, Kyrie's going to show up. It's going to be fun. The Celtics fans are going to be all over Kyrie with all the stuff that happened to him and the not a pretty exit for Kyrie from Boston. So I think that's going to be fun to watch, too, in terms of that, the crowd and everything. And I think, in the end, Boston's role players are better than Brooklyn's. I'm curious how Seth Curry shows up. I'm curious how Patty Mills does. And that's going to be the difference for Brooklyn. But I think, in the end, Boston's overall depth in this series is going to be too much for Brooklyn.
I don't know enough about Boston at all. In any way, I haven't watched one of their games.
Already.
Games. My bad.
Yeah, that's okay.
But Brooklyn, you got to think they still got leadership. I mean, Ben Simmons being out, even though he hasn't even played a game for him yet, would be a big thing if he was in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other than that, there's really not much like it. I know KD's on kind of a tear right now. Kyrie finally gets to play.
Yeah.
After they finally said, "Hey, we can let fans in, but you can't play," like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of a dumb rule. I do agree with him on that. I get that there's all that stuff, but him being able to play now is going to be a big thing.
Yeah,
obviously.
I think this is going to be another 7-gamer, and I think Boston takes it at the end. I think Brooklyn will put up one heck of a fight. I can't trust Brooklyn's defense, man.
No.
Their offense is insane, but their ability to turn every game into a shootout, I think Jason Tatum will be ready for that. I expect a lot of good Jason Tatum games, and man, it's going to be great basketball though. TD Garden's going to be alive. I know, Andrew, you mentioned that. I'm excited to see what chance they try to come up with to get with Kyrie. I'm excited for that.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun series, and listen, everyone always talks about Jason Tatum, which I get. I'm a big Jaylen Brown fan. I like his overall game. I think he's always overlooked just because of Jason Tatum. So I think, and there's been some stuff going on with Brown, and with I think his contract's up soon. So I think this is going to be Jaylen Brown's series.
Yeah, I mean it could be. I mean, usually guys when they get on that contract year, you got to do everything you can. And then 5:30 TNT Sunday night, the Bulls and the Bucks. What other way would you want this? The Midwest battle. The Bulls have struggled against quality competition a lot, and I mean, the biggest injury, I guess you could say for either team, would be Alex Caruso for the Bulls, I guess, and Kobe White would be your big injuries for them. George Hill, Serge Ibaka out for the Bucks potentially. Those are day-to-days. You know Caruso will be out. Kobe White a day-to-day for Chicago. The Bucks are a 10-point favorite in Game 1. People are hammering the Bucks line. They are wanting to see this series. I mean, this is everything you want, especially after the Grayson Allen Caruso incident. Way back when. And you get a divisional rivalry, which doesn't happen a whole lot in the first round. You see them in other times, but this will be classic. Every time Chicago and Milwaukee get together in the playoffs, it's classic.
Yeah. Giannis is just, oh my gosh. Like you said, quality competition. That's it.
Yeah.
Right there.
But that's the thing is, it's not even Giannis. I mean,
I know.
Yes, you have Giannis, but then you got Drew Holiday. You got Bobby Portis sometimes coming off the bench. You never know what he's going to do. This is such a fun team. You got Pat Connaughton, who can be a good 3-and-D guy when you need him to. This is just such a fun team. Brooke Lopez.
Don't forget about Chris Middleton.
Yeah, don't forget about Chris. Yeah, and add insult and injury. Chris Middleton might drop 40 on you.
Yeah,
I completely forgot that DeMar DeRozan was on the Bulls. Like, dead serious. I thought he was still in the Spurs for some reason.
It's like
the Spurs team would be a lot better if DeMar DeRozan was.
It's like I know DeRozan's first year with the Bulls. It's been a great year for Chicago. Are no longer a really bad team. They're actually a competitive playoff team now. But it's like Milwaukee. That team is just going to be too hard to overcome. I think Milwaukee takes. I'm going to be bold here. Milwaukee gets this in a sweep.
No, I agree with you. I think it's a sweep. I think Chicago's obviously, as you mentioned, Cade, they've struggled against quality opponents all year. I don't think. I mean, maybe if it was like a few games, you could throw that stat out the window, but it's all season. Like, I think there's a reason for it. I think Milwaukee's more well-rounded. They're more experienced come playoff time. They got the better coach. I think overall, I mean, I don't see a way Chicago honestly pulls this. Maybe they steal a game, but I don't see how they can find a way to win the series overall. And I think, again, just the trio of Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Giannis is just incredible. Yeah. And it's going to be too much for Chicago.
I mean, yeah, honestly. I would go for the sweep, but like you said, Alex Caruso would be a big thing they're missing, which is obviously he's a leader. He's got experience under his belt. He knows what he's doing. But if they can rally around DeMar DeRozan, he can actually get his teammates to be like, hey, we got at least one win in us. They can make it to 5. I think they win. I think Milwaukee still wins in 5 games. 5 or 4.
I think
honestly.
Milwaukee got the sweep in the regular season. It would not surprise me if Milwaukee got the sweep again. I think Nikola Vucevic, I mean, we haven't even brought him up for the Bulls yet. He may not even be a factor in this thing. Mm-hmm. The way Brooke Lopez can play now, if they just put him on the perimeter, put Vucevic out there trying to guard him, you got Giannis inside paint, anywhere near the rim, Giannis is going to go attack it. And if they somehow stop him, you got Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday to get it to. And if one of them has a great shooting night, you're not winning that game.
Yeah, and the big thing with the Bucks too is I think they had a little bit of that championship hangover into the next season. They struggled out of the gate. And listen, I think everyone started at the end realizing where the Nets were, and everyone started saying, okay, how can we dodge Brooklyn first round? And I mean, you saw that when I think they rested pretty much their entire team that last game of the season. They're like, we're not getting that 2 seed. So Milwaukee's a better team than the 3 seed. Like Milwaukee's the best overall rounded team in the East. Yeah, like they're the real 1 seed in this conference. They just didn't play to it because of a slow start, and then I think they intentionally dodged the Nets a little bit.
Yeah, which I mean, I personally don't understand trying to dodge the Nets. Just get them out of the way. I would think get the best team out of the way. The biggest threat. You want that challenge, in my opinion, at least. I understand the logic behind it, but just go get them.
Well, personally, it's like Milwaukee overall has a better unit of a team. So it's like, why? I understand Harden was with the Nets before, but it was like there was really no point in trying to avoid them because it's like you're better than they are. So it's like, I get it. You don't want to have to deal with a hard-fought series early on in the playoffs. You'd rather deal with it late. That way you don't get knocked out sooner.
Yeah.
Or at least somehow get knocked out by another team that you weren't expecting to get knocked out by.
See, I don't fault anybody for doing it. I mean, obviously, if it was proven that somebody did do it intentionally, that would obviously be a huge story. But my thing with it is, listen, in the end, you don't want to face Kevin Durant round 1. Like, you don't want that risk. Let's go have Boston and Brooklyn go punch for punch with each other. Tire each other out. Let that go 7, especially if you're able to knock out Chicago in 4 or 5 and take care of business. You'll get rested. Let Brooklyn and Boston battle it out, tire each other out, and then now that gives Milwaukee the advantage over the winner of that series in the 2-7 match, just because they're going to be a little banged up, or not banged up, but just tired out, and then take advantage of that to get off to a strong start that next series. So I really can't fault a team for it.
Yeah, I understand. I don't like it, but I understand why they do it.
It's like when a team's up by 3 and they foul, and it ruins, for a fan, it ruins the end of a game. We don't want to see it, but we understand why they're fouling.
Yeah, you don't want to see the free throw competition, but it's going to be one. And then the final series to talk about, Phoenix being the 1 seed, will play either New Orleans or the Clippers, does it make a difference at all in terms of games or who wins the series?
It makes a difference in games, yes. I think if it's the Clippers, it's going to go about 6 or 7 only because I think Paul George would be that good. And we saw how when we talked about how good the Clippers were, just find ways to survive all year, even without Paul George and Kawhi. So that shows how balanced and well-rounded that team is. So I think it could extend the series more than the Pelicans, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get the win. So I'll take the Suns regardless.
If the Suns play the Pelicans, I think Suns get a sweep, or at least it goes to 5 games. I just think Suns are just way too talented. And if they get Clippers, I could see that going to 6 games. But I think Suns get too early, and I think they trade the next 4 games.
Yeah, I think the Suns will. I mean, they'll win against whoever they play. They're that talented. But I think if they get the Pelicans, they can sweep them. If they get the Clippers, probably 5 or 6. But moving on, finally, from the NBA, we've talked a lot about it, but it's time to move on to a sport we don't usually talk about this time of the year, and that's football. The USFL, ladies and gentlemen. Kickoff Saturday, 6:30 p.m. on Fox. The New Jersey Generals, the Birmingham Stallions. I have one question about this. Does anyone actually care? Does anyone actually care that there's spring football on? There's been hardly any advertising for it.
No.
There was the AAF that tried a few years ago pre-COVID. And, I mean, I watched it. I thought it was great. It was terrible football at times, but it was extremely entertaining. But at the same time, it had the problem of running into the NBA playoffs. And am I going to watch 2 teams that literally just got created this year or the NBA playoffs? I'm going to watch the NBA playoffs. Same thing happened with the XFL. The XFL was a fun product. There was a lot of good stuff going on there.
Well,
But am I going to watch it or the NBA playoffs? The answer is neither, because COVID happened. And poor JD. JD.
Oh, I sat down and I was like going to put my elbow back and I slammed it into the corner.
And once again, the studio is undefeated.
Dude, the studio's beating me up today.
The studio is beating you up.
The mic hit me and I can't lift it. Whatever. We'll get back to it. You're good.
But it's like when the XFL was on, I watched that over anything else that was in the sports world because the product was actually good. Like the teams overall everyone played well.
They were competitive.
And it was more, and also it did help that the league was more prepared.
It was.
Versus the AAF, which they rushed it. And then obviously the USFL, while they took basically the similar route the XFL did, I almost know nothing about any of the players that are in it, who all the coaches, the teams, and mainly because they've done so little advertising for it.
Yeah.
And I know that's the fault of Fox and NBC not helping support, but it's also mainly the USFL's fault for not trying to get that out there.
Well, yeah, 100%.
I know it's like I've known about the league coming back, but I didn't know when and what time they were.
It was doomed to fail, bro, from the start. You got to think. You have to compete with the NFL right off the bat. You're doomed to fail. No matter who you go with, no matter who your sponsors are, unless you're perfectly prepared and you've been prepping this for 10 to 15 years and you have the money behind it, you have the donors, you have the backers, you have the players, you're done.
Well, this isn't like back in the early like when the 60s started, the AFL going up against the NFL. It's like the AFL, obviously had a rocky start. It had the financial backing to keep going.
Yeah.
Going due to as many of them try to make this happen, and they actually could have eventually been able to actually properly compete in regards to viewership, but even those of the AFL knew that they weren't going to be able to outlast the NFL because the NFL has way too much stay power.
Yes.
So it's obviously
they're a company that is too big to fail. That's all it is.
So, but the best you can do is you can compete viewership with them. The issue is how long is you're going to be able to run. Are you able to stay here for the long run? But the USFL feels like an experiment that's only going to last maybe at most 2-3 years.
So we're looking at the USFL right now.
We're looking at it right now. First game Saturday night, 6:30, New Jersey at Birmingham. I do want to mention I'm pretty sure that all games will be played at Birmingham, if I remember correctly. Birmingham is the host city for this kind of experimental year.
That makes sense.
And if things go well, they will expand it. But next year, think about it. If they do this next year, you're going to have the USFL, then you're going to have the XFL Part 3, and then they're still going to be competing with the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs and MLB. So the main thing is, why do this?
Why not?
Why do this? But I really want to see if there's a way that they can make this an NFL G League, basically. I would love to see that personally.
Honestly, for it being in the spring, I want it to be more than that. Just because of the fact that if we have the NFL in the fall, right?
Yes.
We have college football in the fall.
Yes.
What do we have in the spring? Besides, like, Arena League or maybe, like, anything like that.
Yes.
Besides Arena League, the CFL. You got to think about that. We have Canadian football.
Yes.
We have arena football.
I do
in
love
Canada.
my Canadian football.
Well, don't get me wrong. Arena football's fun. Like
arena
same-
football still exists.
Yes.
Yeah. No, so okay.
There's
so
a team
there's
in Enid, technically.
There's a kid from our school that's in arena football right now. His name's Uwe Blair. He's playing for I think it's Wichita, Topeka. Topeka Tropics. He's
It's just not as well as advertised as it used to be. Because
No.
I remember that was like
No.
Not at
that
all.
was, I remember it was like
Well-
it was all over the place in the mid 2000s, and then it was
Yeah.
like,
The thing
no,
that happened there is the AFL, the Arena Football League itself, it had like 30 teams nearly.
Mm-hmm.
They were everywhere. I know Philadelphia had the Soul. They destroyed people. Jacksonville
no,
had
they
the
did.
Sharks. They had the best logo in the AFL, in my opinion. It was a red shark. Come on, how can you not like that?
American Dad makes fun of that team too.
And they had all this going. They had their own developmental league,
Yeah.
basically. They had the AFL2, and then the AFL2 folded in 2012, and then the AFL finally went under, I want to say 2018, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
They finished with only 5 teams in the league. Everyone else split up. There's like 10 different arena football leagues now.
Yeah, there
And
is.
that's the problem. Like, I don't understand why don't you like they should just stay a combined league.
Like if they would have made
Yes.
if they would have had that one league and all those other splinter leagues be little conferences or divisions,
That's
that
what
would have
they
worked
should do.
perfectly.
Yeah.
Because there's like 60 different arena league teams, but they all are in their own little 9-team leagues
Yeah.
scattered all across America.
It's exactly like how college football is set up, man.
Yes.
Like exactly like it. So, but you make it more competitive the less teams you have in it. Because
Yes.
you want to see who's the best, obviously.
Yes.
And if you get the best, what they could do is obviously the best teams form some sort of super conference, super
Yes.
region, whatever. Something like that. But like you said, let's go back to the XFL. So in 2005 or 2006, whenever it first started.
that was
XFL's
it was
2001.
Was it 2001?
Yeah, it was
Okay,
a
I'm
long
getting my
time.
No Year's
It was
mixed up, but
before
no.
I existed.
They did.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah, they did that, right? It failed. It didn't fail. I take that back. It couldn't get any traction because of the NFL becoming so prevalent at the time, with new players coming in, all that stuff. They had,
he hate me though. That was
yeah. Well, like back
the
then,
one
the
thing
NFL
is-
could celebrate.
The
Yeah.
thing is, the XFL had the thing is the XFL, like if you look at TV viewership and the money that happened in that first week, it went fantastic. The issues the rest of the year was terrible.
Well, whenever
And
that
they tried
happened,
to make it so good.
because the thing that they did was they tried to somehow bring the WWE style ruthless aggression era
Yeah.
style of bringing that aspect into football. When it's like, no, just do football. That's
Just
it.
do
yeah,
football.
I think the XFL when they started towards the end of 2019,
Yeah.
that was perfect.
That was the
Oh
right way to do
my
it.
gosh,
That-
I enjoyed watching it. I loved it every second.
I was so mad when COVID happened. They had
Yeah.
they couldn't. It was
When
like
they got rid of it, it was insane.
Here's the thing. I'm probably one of like 3 people in the universe that actually like the AAF, the old Alliance of American Football.
Yeah.
They did the year before that.
They had the Oilers in it, right? I can't remember who
They
it was.
had
what team it was.
they had the Commanders for
Yes,
San Antonio.
that's true.
And they averaged like 30,000 people a game. It was insane.
Who signed with the AFF? That was such a big player. He signed whenever Trump was actually a commissioner for one of the teams.
I don't. Oh, you're thinking of the old.
you're thinking of the
Oh,
old
you're thinking of
USA.
Herschel
USA
Walker back
Yeah,
then.
USAF. I
Yeah,
think,
you're thinking
right?
about Herschel
You're thinking
Walker,
of the
old
old
USFL.
USFL.
Yeah,
Yeah, the original one. But
that's what I'm talking about.
the old the AAF, I really enjoyed it, kind of because it was rushed. I guess
Yeah.
you could say the fact that it was like they played 1 week and ran out of money to
It
me
was
was the
impromptu.
funniest thing.
It was like a Rick and Morty
And
commercial.
then the way the AAF ended, I don't know if you all saw the final game of the AAF before it went under in week 8. It was Johnny Football Memphis versus some other team. He was injured, so this is like Memphis's 6th string quarterback because everyone else got injured or left or
Jared
got
Schlepp,
cut.
never mind. Yeah.
It's some random guy. And the game ends on Big 12 refs of all people. This is how I remember because it was Big 12 refs were hired to do the game in Memphis. And they blew a call and like a guy got a first down and they called it a turnover on downs. And that was the end of the game. And you heard a player like swear into the ref mic at the end of the game. They cut the broadcast real quick. And that was the last we ever saw the AAF. And I could not think of a more fitting ending to that league than that game itself. It was one of the funniest things I ever saw happen. Like, and it was a good game. It was like 34-31. Memphis had this big comeback. All they needed to do was get one stop. They got it, and then the refs gave them a first down for no
You
reason.
know how we said we weren't going to bring up Texas at all?
Yes, we're getting there.
Well, look what my mom sent me. Dude.
He said he's
And-
going to
no,
give you a nice little
Going back
Texas
to that,
table.
like when we talk about the XFL, the reason I liked them so much, man, they brought in players that could have gone to the NFL easily.
Like,
Yes.
the-
But couldn't
like-
because it was so competitive the year they were. Sean Oakman got to play in the XFL.
Yep.
After getting accused of rape, he got accused of rape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whole career gone.
The Houston team and the St. Louis teams were really fun to
Yeah.
watch.
The Dallas Renegades too.
Yeah.
Ra-
The
Dal-
Dallas
Bob
Renegades
Stoops.
were amazing.
Bob Stoops, Landry Jones, let me
forgot
tell you,
about
it's the
that.
OU team.
I wasn't as high on Dallas, being like, obviously you guys have a bias because Bob Stoops, but
Well, not even because of Bob Stoops. They
but-
played well.
the team,
That was a fun team to
Yeah.
watch.
the team overall, I was more impressed with the Houston team and Blues because not Blues, the St. Louis team. I forget
Yeah.
who they were called.
The
but-
Battlehawks cause
They
law.
were
It's
actually
like,
pretty good.
but
The
the St.
Battlehawks were
St.
the
Louis
Houston
team
were the best
wasn't. Didn't the St. Louis team go undefeated before the whole
Yes.
thing?
Them and Houston were both undefeated, I
They were
believe.
good.
That's who I was more impressed with. When the games that Renegades lost, they didn't play their best, but the games they won, they were really good.
They looked like an actual team that could compete in a really good league.
That's the one
Like,
thing is
really.
even I'd probably say except for the New York team, every other team had stability and actually was competitive.
They were bringing in money like nothing. I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now, the Dallas Renegades. The first
If-
week, I think half the guys when I was at SNU,
Yeah.
half the guys there had Dallas Renegade gear,
Yeah.
had a hat or had like wristbands or something.
Yeah,
like that.
they did a really good job promoting it.
Yes,
And then,
Houston does this. Like he said, Houston did the same thing.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cross you. That's my
you-
bad.
there was an unbelievable amount of support for it and everything.
Oh yeah, there still is.
I mean, there still is. But the XFL sent out not to cut both of you off, but the XFL sent out a big press release the other day, and they're rebranding,
Makes sense.
and it's the most generic look. All the colors gone. It's just black and white. XFL took all the style and just sucked the soul out of it.
Dude, I had high hopes because whenever they had colorful jerseys,
And
everything.
I don't know what they're gonna do, but man, I hope they get this right.
Go ahead, Connor.
You gotta hope they get it right because it's like, what was wrong with the old logo? The old logo they were just using, like it was fine the way it was.
Well, it
don't
looked
know.
good, but I think the reason they want to rebrand it because they want to make it seem like it's not like the one that came out in 2019 or 2018, whatever. Whenever
They don't want it to look like the other two. They want it to
Yes.
be its own, not Vince
Unique,
McMahon
but
related thing.
getting rid of the colors and all that is just going to be bad because you got to think when we look at our phones, when you see bright colors, immediately do you think, hey, I want to look at this, right? When you go to the store, when you see bright colors, what do you want to do? Buy
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
That it's the smartest way is to draw people in by using bright colors on a phone screen. If I turned this to grayscale, I wouldn't want to look at my phone
Yeah.
at all.
But it's like everything was going right for the 2019 into 2020. Well, actually, technically, they only had a 2020 season because they didn't have, but everything was going just right. Even the worst teams in the league were still getting good amount of attendance.
Yeah.
And they were viewership almost across the board was pretty good, except for obviously
Really high. It was insanely high.
So it was like everything was going right. All they needed to do was just get through the season, and they probably would have been like, "This has been a very great. Let's move on." But the issue was obviously COVID hit, and they had to
Shut down.
They had to shut down because they had to also
They couldn't afford to pay for it.
They couldn't afford to keep going through. That was just the worst thing that happened was you had a stoppage, and there's no way you could recover from that.
What's scary is not scary. What's good is the guys that are backing it now. Guys like The Rock. Who else? I think
There's a few other people.
I still wish McMahon didn't give up, didn't sell the stuff. It was
I think he's still involved behind the scenes. If we're being
it was
honest.
like if he's still involved, then that'd be great. But it's just like if he's no longer a part of it, I'm like, dude, you and many other guys were the sole reason why this worked the second time.
Exactly.
You didn't. It's like if he's not with it, then it's like, well, then I really am curious how it goes. But
Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm excited to see how it goes. The only thing about that, I'm concerned that the XFL will try to make changes for the sake of being different.
Yeah,
is what I'm concerned.
They did when Vince McMahon run, like he said, they did it perfectly.
Yes.
There were some things that could have been fixed, obviously.
Yeah, but I still think one of the smartest. I know I'm not sure how you guys felt about on the kickoff where instead of guys running 75 to 65 yards down the field, they start really up close with the other. That way they can avoid concussion.
That was actually kind of nice. Don't get me wrong. Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
Well, don't get me wrong. It was nice. Obviously, kick returning, punt returning.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah,
It is.
In the NFL, you had guys like when I grew up. I had guys like Devin Hester, Percy Harvin,
We all did.
Cordero Patterson when he was on the Vikings, and then when he went to the was it the Patriots first, I think, and then he went somewhere else. I can't remember. But watching these guys do returns on kickoffs, it's like nothing else. You can watch guys, even Antonio Brown, before he lost his marbles. But I mean, it's just watching kickoffs is fun. But I think the XFL did that to reduce the amount of concussion protocol.
I think so.
That was the sole reason why they did it, was because they're trying to be to make it safer. Plus, if these guys also want to jump up to the NFL, they're not having to worry about injuries they sustained in. But obviously, in any sports, injuries are almost impossible to avoid.
It seems like every dude in the league played with a chip on his shoulder, though.
It's like with the XFL is just that. I always thought that particular idea was like that's something the NFL could try to experiment with if they want to do, but they're not going to.
No, they won't, because they'll lose viewership. Because they'll be like, oh, yeah, they copied the XFL. You know what I mean?
Well, you're not going to lose viewership as a result of that. I think you're going to...
I would say the NFL borrowed a lot of stuff from the 2001 XFL, the way that, like the Sky Cam and things like that, that had never been done before.
Many things that were not on the field, like in regards to certain stuff off the field, like camera work, that was something that, like, WWE has always been great with, is camera work. So, obviously, in some of the ideas they used were like, this is something they could have used for anything else, and just like, yeah, good job. There's always good things to take from. Like, there's things that the NFL took from the AFL that wasn't just the teams that made it work.
There are 3 things I would like to see the NFL adapt, and I know they never will. But if they do, I think it'd be really cool. And this goes for, even college, all football.
Yeah.
Number 1, allow us to see what the replay official sees. And because this is something I know the AF did, I think the XFL 2.0 did too, where when they would go to review,
they would have an iPad that shows you what's going on.
Yeah, they would show you what's going on and show you that person's point of view, and they would talk to the head ref in their head. And you'd hear that entire conversation.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing, because if they screwed up, it was funny seeing them talk to each other. Like, yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, that's what I got. It was like, you are both wrong.
Who did they have sideline reporting one game where he was just talking crap to the ref while he's doing the review? I can't remember who. It was a comedian. I think it was Bert Kreischer.
I don't know.
Tom Segura, one of those guys.
I think didn't Pat McAfee do?
He did. That's who it was.
Yeah. It might have been.
You got it. Yeah.
Another thing
I was pretty sure Pat McAfee did it because he obviously he works with WWE, but he also gets a chance to work as
Pat McAfee is. Yeah.
Another thing I'd like to see is the 3-point conversion. I know the XFL did it, where you have the going for 1 with your PAT, you go for 2 from the 3, and I can't remember if it was the 5 or the 10.
I think it was the 10.
I think it was the 10, going for 3.
It's the 10, because the 5-yard line's where you go to.
The 9-point touchdown to me.
Yeah, I feel like that feels like more of a. You've played Madden?
Yes.
You've played like the modes where they do like the superstar mode.
Yeah.
Where you play as all these guys, you pick 3 guys.
It's a bit of a gimmicky looking thing, but to me it's fun.
It makes it fun.
It makes it fun. It makes that weird obviously you don't get a 9-point differential.
I will say it makes that stuff more interesting. Plus, it also just like you're just having fun.
Yes.
That's basically what I think the XFL was that. While they were experimenting with ideas, they were also trying to have fun with it.
That was the main thing, was to have fun. And then the other thing was the changing the onside kick to a 4th and 15 you have to convert instead of the actual onside kick.
Wait, it was a 4 and 15? I thought it was a 4 and 10.
No, I think it was 15.
I think it was 4th and 15.
The reason why I'm thinking 15 is because every time I had to watch it and they did convert it, it seemed a lot longer than it normally is. Yes. I don't know why. It was always freaky to me.
Yeah, but that is something I think. It would make comebacks a lot more entertaining. It would make them a lot more easy.
The NFL has a lot of stuff they could change, but here's the thing. The NFL right now is being ran by older individuals.
Yes. Obviously,
who are stuck in a little bit of the past. I'm not going to be a jerk about it, but me playing football most of my life, most of the rules in the NFL don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they had the whole thing, whenever they were roughing the quarterback all the time.
Yes.
There was a hit on Kirk Cousins. I love the Vikings, but when he got hit with the ball in his hand, and just tucked it.
Oh, yeah, that was when they're playing Green Bay.
It was like 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
And the roughing the passer is just the worst thing. And they were like, oh, we're going to crack down on it. Next year, they just started calling more holding penalties instead.
Well, it's like the consistency was if he doesn't have the ball for after 2-3 seconds, he gets hit, or at least in a certain amount of time.
Yeah. No,
then it's
exactly.
one thing. But that's because he doesn't have the ball. He's not even protecting himself.
I remember
when you still have the ball and you get tackled, it's like you can't control how a guy lands on top of you. Sometimes his feet just go flying up, or he just does a railer right on top of you. But it's like there's no reason to call a rough in the passer unless you headshot the guy.
Well, even a second after he gets the ball away, a guy who's weighing my size, like 250, 240, He can't stop himself on a dime. Guys are weighing 300 pounds that run 4.8s can't stop themselves on a dime. So if they throw it away and it's out of their hand for at least a second, you're going to understand that when they hit, they're not going to be able to slow down in time.
Yeah.
And they would still call roughing the passer. There's nothing you can do to avoid it. And that's why I think the NFL needs to crack down on that just a little bit more. Like, they need to be like, hey, like, it's 2 seconds. Like, a second is like, a second from running is literally from here to probably, especially with their speed, from here to probably 4 to 5 feet outside that wall.
Yeah.
They will clear that in a second.
Well, switching gears a little bit here from the NFL to college football, the Football Power Index has come out today.
They really
which
put
is
Texas.
We're getting to it. The FPI is always ESPN's predictions of how the year will. Predictions. I'm calling them predictions because they don't deserve to be actual projections. The predictions here are what you'd expect in the top 4: Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson. But then you get to number 5, you get Notre Dame. And then you get to number 6. Ladies and gentlemen, Texas is back. It is happening again. Quinn Ewers will lead the Horns to the Big 12 title. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
The second worst record in the Big 12. The Big 12, which they consider terrible.
Yes.
And they are ranked number 6 in the
Texas
FPI
has a
rankings.
current 41% chance to win the Big 12, a 21% chance to make the playoff, a 7% chance to make the national championship game, and a 2% chance to win it all, higher than every other.
OU has a 0% chance to win
the division, which of course they can't.
Okay, I'm sorry, but OU has a better shot at winning the Big 12, or at least making the playoff way better than Texas does. Even though OU will probably have a down year, it's still they're going to have a better chance than Texas.
You think that, but OU's returning 8 out of 9 of their defensive starters.
Yeah,
I'm more concerned about their offense. Like their
I was getting to that.
Their defense. I think I knew didn't take hardly much of a hit at all, but it's like the issue is you got to worry. Well, how explosive is that offense going to be? Because if they're not that explosive, they're going to be in some trouble.
10-3 every game.
OU's whole goal this year was to improve their offensive line.
Yeah.
Their offensive line was lacking on the left tackle and left guard position. The center, Creed Humphrey, before he left, was amazing.
Yes.
He left 2 years ago, a year ago, I think.
2 years ago.
Yeah, so it would have been whenever he was there.
He was a rookie this last.
Obviously, their big thing right now is picking up a guy to place him.
Yeah.
But they think they did. They have a solid guy. I can't remember the kid's name.
They've got a Rame, don't they?
I think
kid
so.
out of Brooklyn era with the glasses. Yeah.
It's amazing how they're like really good alignment are from Oklahoma.
Yes.
Like whenever they
don't think about it.
Yeah.
But
Well, their left tackle and their left guard position are weak. Their right tackle, he's iffy on a good day.
Yeah.
On a bad day.
If they can get their offensive line fixed, I think Oklahoma can be fine.
They picked up 2 guys, number 1 and number 2 in their class for alignment.
Texas,
I think. Personally, I would throw Notre Dame and Texas out of the top 15.
I'd say top 10.
Well, Notre Dame
Texas out of the top 25.
I'd leave Notre Dame up there.
Notre Dame, I think we'll learn a lot about Notre Dame when they play Ohio State right out of the gate. We're going to learn a whole lot about.
Well, you think Notre Dame doesn't have a conference, man?
Yeah.
Never have. And who do they play?
Except for that 1 year.
Except for 1 year.
They don't need a conference to be ranked.
Yeah, they're playing Ohio State and Clemson this year. We'll know how good Notre Dame is.
But Clemson's not even good anymore.
I mean, yeah, Clemson offense, if you watch Clemson spring game, that offense, man, either it's really bad or their defense has a lot of guys going to the NFL.
I think their defense has picked it up a lot because last year they had talent.
Yes.
Their linebacker core was just dude.
I don't think you can 10-3 your way through every game though.
No, definitely not. But
I'm not really sure why. I'm not sure how Pitt overall will be try to be reloading on any.
They got
talent.
Keaton Slovis, who's the USC transfer, and they think if they can keep him in that system of throwing it a lot.
I'd probably at least move them out of the top 10.
The one that makes no sense. Auburn. This might be a bigger head scratcher to me than Texas somehow. You're telling me little old 6-6 Auburn is going to be a top 10 team,
and there's not. And the thing is, they lost their defensive coordinator, who actually, being honest, Auburn's defense was actually solid. Their offense just was not consistent remotely at all, and so and now he's at Oklahoma State, and Auburn there's really nothing about them talk about them reloading or getting better. Like, I just see no improvement from Auburn. They're probably going to go 6-6 again, or might have a losing record.
And LSU at 11, Penn State 12, Oklahoma State 13, A&M 14, Utah. The disrespect to Utah at 15. Utah should be a top 10.
Utah should be top 10.
Utah
is bringing a lot of people
Speaking of
back.
Utah, there's a kid from our school that actually transferred there.
Yeah.
And he's been telling me about it. And Utah is looking.
Utah's going to be insane.
Their QB is actually his brother.
Yeah.
And the QB is, top 10, top 5 quarterbacks in the country right now?
Utah is going to be an insane team. You put a good offense and a great defense together that just everyone buys into that team every single year with Kyle Winningham, what he does.
Their run game is going to be...
Utah, if they don't win the Pac-12, something's gone horribly wrong for them.
Their run game,
I think.
when I tell you is going to be dominant, is going to be dominant.
It's going to be fun.
They are going to
team.
run it down your throat with 3 different guys.
Yep.
Absolutely abolish the middle of the gap. They are going to destroy A gap and B gap simultaneously.
Mike and Perkins, don't worry. Stony Brook's #1 in all our hearts. That's where Stony Brook is. They're number 0. They're too good.
I think for were you gonna say something?
No,
I'm watching.
I think with I was just meant for see if Andrew was gonna say anything, but it's like crap. I forgot which team. Utah is like Utah is gonna be. I definitely be one of the dark horse favorites to make the playoff, because especially with how much people they're bringing back, and with how good they are, I think they'll easily win the Pac-12. The thing is, they got to worry about is they cannot lose to. I think they have to go undefeated for really them, because the Pac-12 as a whole is not very good. So you basically need to rely either everyone else has got to get better, or you basically just got to not lose a single game at all, just to have a shot at making the playoff.
I mean, you look at Utah's schedule. It is a pretty favorable schedule, I'd say. Florida, Southern Utah, San Diego State, at Arizona State, Oregon State, at UCLA, USC, at Washington State, Arizona, Stanford, at Oregon, at Colorado.
Game.
There's 3 losable games on that schedule, I think. Florida, USC, and Oregon. They're probably going to beat USC in just home game there. I think they'll win in Eugene and beat the Ducks. I honestly think they'll go undefeated.
Yeah.
I think they're going to destroy USC and Arizona State back to back.
Say, Andrew?
I said they could lose to UCLA.
They could. They could.
Well, the other thing about this you have to remember is, I mean, I don't even understand how they rank these things, because they agree with them. I mean, they only have Auburn at 7 wins, so it's not like they have Auburn.
It's
It's
overall.
not even like a real so it's got the projected win total along with everything what you're saying. It's just it's a weird ranking.
It's overall like how good they think the team is when you take the win-loss record away.
The fact that they've got Texas winning 9 after winning only 5 this year, and then also
Texas
losing
having
But
a better
they could
record.
win 9 because the Big 12 really isn't anything special.
Texas having
Sugar
a better.
and Oklahoma State are now contenders.
Yeah.
No, they are, but like if in any given year, any of those teams can beat each other,
100%.
and usually they schedule 3 pretty easy I don't know what their out of conference schedule looks like, but
Who, Texas?
Yeah, I mean,
Texas has Bama this year, so
yeah.
So that's one.
So they're getting murdered.
That's one loss.
they got
but
ULM.
they're
Bama,
gonna beat them.
UTSA.
They're gonna beat UTSA.
They'll beat UTSA.
They'll beat probably Tech.
They might beat Tech.
I don't know
They'll
about
beat,
Kansas.
They'll beat
guys.
Kansas. They'll beat.
Hey, you can't say they'll beat Kansas.
West Virginia
you never know
might
about
kill them.
Kansas.
Like really.
Like so, I could see 9 wins.
West Virginia
out of
got
that
JT
schedule.
Daniels the other day.
Did they actually?
Yeah, JT
I can
Daniels.
see
transferred
Texas winning 8 games.
Yeah, so
But they could easily go. They could easily have a
Do what they did
500
last year.
record.
Like, hey, do what they did last
Yeah,
year.
they could
that's
go
the thing.
5 and 7
that's
again.
the
Yeah.
big thing about the Big 12, basically. Like outside of OU, really, like any given year, anyone can like. Yeah, Oklahoma State won a lot of games last year, but I could easily see them winning 6 games this year
Yeah, but
because they're so inconsistent.
They've lost guys like Malcolm Rodriguez, Trace Ford. Like they've lost a lot.
Well,
of
the guys they've had back them up have played. Not obviously not this. They're not at the same level Malcolm was, but they played just as well as he did.
Brock Martin and that D line is still
So
pretty good.
the D line has always been like one thing for Oklahoma State. The D line for years has always been great. It's been their linebacking and secondary that's been questionable.
Well, now that they moved some guys down from the safety position who are supposed to be linebackers, they're going to be a lot better because those guys' foot speed are insane. They'll be able to get to every gap, fill it as quickly as they can.
I think obviously their biggest concern is mainly their both their safeties and how well they'll play.
Yeah.
I think I think defensively OSU might just slightly go down to where they were. Like they're not going to be like have the high rankings regards to stats.
I mean, of course.
But I think they'll play just as well as anybody else in the Big 12 or even other teams.
If they would switch away from running the 3-4 dime package and just go back to a regular 4-3 and just basically blitz the absolute crap out of their middle linebacker. And the guy's a big dude. He's about 235. Runs like a 4.6. Get him up the middle. Obviously, fill in every gap you can, but I mean, it's going to be tough. They ran a 3-4 dime package a lot last year.
Yeah, they did. But the one thing I've noticed every time OSU ever ran a blitz, there's always the running back that would just whoop, right back behind them
Well,
and then
yeah,
just catch it.
there's always an open gap you can't account for. There's 6 gaps, A,
But
B, and
it's
C.
like, but the issue was the timing of trying to blitz. But the thing is, obviously, they ran a bunch of blitzes last year, and it favorably worked out. But every time it didn't work out, especially if it was a team that could score a lot, that is going to hurt a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, you saw it against
the
Baylor, but
Baylor,
it's all coaching.
OU, and Notre Dame. That hurt quite a few. But obviously, OSU eventually fixed that in the second half. It's always the first half part I'm always concerned about.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course you're going to be concerned about it, but I think OSU, they've got a good defense. They still do, like you said.
And plus bringing in Mason from Auburn, that's going to be a big help. Especially he's a really good defensive coordinator.
Well, yeah, we talked about like filling gaps and everything. You have 3 gaps. You have 3 gaps on each side. Obviously, you're going to go left side jaw, left right side even. You can't cover every gap.
Yeah, I understand.
You have to have guys sitting out the flats, watch them curl flat, anything like that. I know that. Screens, anything like that.
I know that.
So you can't cover every gap, which is going to make sense. If you find a good team like Baylor or OU that can exploit that, which they will. Yeah. Offensive minds, you had guys like I won't say Lincoln, but
I will say
good game, Bob, baby.
I will say we will find out if what style of defense the OSU will still
basically
run.
If they're really about it.
It's obviously it depends on what type of formation Mason wants to run. If he's he'll run a 4-3.
Yeah, with the guys he has, he'll run a 4-3. He has to, a true 4-3. No stand-up defensive end, nothing like that. He's gonna have every guy's gonna have their hand in the dirt, whatever. The guys are gonna have contain on the outside. No guys switch it.
Plus, good amount of your outside linebackers that OSU has, they're
cover safeties. Is what they are.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty solid.
They can cover basically right you throw at them.
Yeah,
because they're going to be covering tight ends. Because most of the guys in the Big 12 run a 2 tight end package. And even Bama runs a 2 tight end package. They're going to have to stop.
You got to run that 12.
Which you got to have guys that weigh 225 that are able to compete with you guys and run with them.
Yeah.
So it's all tough.
I'm really I will say I am kind of surprised A&M is as low as they are, despite fact obviously.
Listen, they're going to buy a national championship. Don't worry about it.
I still can't. It really is messing with me though that they put OSU below Texas. As much as I don't like OSU, it really just throws me for a loop, man.
You got to understand, Texas is back.
No, they're not.
They're back. Quinn Ewers is
back
the great.
From what? You can come back from the grave, but you're still dead.
Listen, Quinn Ewers is literally corpse. Vince Young too.
Yeah,
apparently.
I guess. I mean,
I don't know.
Does that man run?
Despite
like him?
the fact that all the rumors I've seen, they've not fixed their offensive line.
Yeah,
we don't even know if Quinn Ewers is going to be the starter. Hudson Card could easily be the starter for Texas.
LSU moved up.
Yeah, I don't understand LSU being 11 either.
Didn't they get rid of Coach O?
Yes. They got Brian Kelly now.
Yeah, Brian Kelly's.
Brian Kelly's a good coach, but man,
But again, they only have 7 wins. So I'm looking at the win total more.
Exactly.
So they only got 7 wins. It's not like they have a top team in the.
No, 100%. Yeah, no, really.
Let's go by wins instead.
Ohio State.
Ohio State projected, more than likely going to be 11-1 regular season. Yep. Georgia probably 11-1. Bama probably 11-1. Clemson probably 11-1.
So who do they think Georgia's losing to?
Probably.
They did send like 6 guys to the NFL.
If we look at Georgia's schedule here, I mean, you get Oregon week 1. First of all, going up.
That's a dub.
I'm just saying, interesting storyline there, going up against Dan Lanning, your former defensive coordinator.
That's a dub still. I mean,
it's going to be a dub.
Sam Houston, right?
Samford. Samford did put 50 on Florida last year. That was a funny game.
Well, that's without Kyle Pitts and their quarterback too at the same time.
But South Carolina on the road, people I've seen already saying Spencer Rattler and company in Columbia hosting them. Could be a fun one there.
Did you see? Okay, so South Carolina's quarterback, the guy they had in front of Spencer before he got there, he has absolutely stepped it up another notch.
Yeah.
When he saw that coming, he saw everything coming out. He got pissed.
Oh, I bet so.
I don't even know if they had their spring game yet, but I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it'll be a fun spring game.
Like really, it's gonna be wild.
And then Kent State at Missouri, Auburn at home, Vandy at home. Good old Florida and Gainesville, and then Gainesville, Jacksonville, all the Villes, whatever you want to call it.
Like we don't know. Like I'm not sure how dominant Georgia will be, but I could easily see them going undefeated.
10-win season. I'm gonna say above 10.
I mean, I would think with the schedule they have: Tennessee, at Mississippi State, at Kentucky, Georgia Tech. Like you don't win 10 games, something's wrong.
South Carolina always plays these good teams close.
Yes.
Every
early in the year, I think Spencer Rattler can have a big day if he's the starter. Austin Stogner will tear some people up.
Spencer needed to get humbled.
He did.
He needed to get humbled. His head got too big.
And he did get humbled. And then
he did. He got his spot taken. But yeah, keep going, man. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but he's got University of Kentucky, obviously.
Yeah, Kentucky.
Georgia Tech's going to be a good game.
Georgia Tech's usually a pretty good game. Hasn't been the last few years, though.
That's why I'm saying 10 wins. I'm thinking South Carolina may pull off an upset. Georgia Tech may get a win, but I don't know for sure, man.
I think out of all the teams, I think Tennessee could probably be the only one that could pull off an upset. I think
That's
Georgia
always
goes
a
undefeated.
good game, too, every year.
I think-
ever since Herschel Walker played.
Yeah. I still think Georgia has another undefeated season. Now I don't know how they'll do in the SEC title game, but I think they'll go undefeated.
Well, I mean,
But obviously this could change months from now.
how many kids did Bama return from their starters? Almost all.
Decent amount, yeah.
I think at least
they
70%.
They at least return about 75% of them.
That's gonna suck for everybody else.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem for
you had a young Bama team who almost won a natty.
It is going to be exciting for sure. But another thing that's exciting, we don't talk about it enough on this show.
NHL.
The NHL. Wild card race heating up. Going to be a fun time. Going through the standings real quick. Florida, right now, the Panthers, number 1 in the East, 110 points. Panthers currently trying to fight for that overall 1 spot. They might get it. Looks like they should. I mean, unless the Maple Leafs can catch them, who are second right behind them with 100 points. Both those teams have clinched playoff spots already, and Tampa Bay in third with 96. But they are the 2-time defending champions, and you never can count out the Bolts.
No.
And then in the Metro Division, Carolina with 104, the Rangers of New York right behind them with 102, and Pittsburgh in that 3 spot with 95. Both Carolina and New York already clinching playoff spots. And then you get to the wild card. The Bruins currently with 95 points, the Capitals with 92. The Caps have won 4 in a row and are on their way to catching Boston if things keep going the way they are. And only 2 teams left behind those 2. The New York Islanders with 77 points and the Blue Jackets of Columbus with 76. So more than likely Boston and Washington will get in with only 9 games left for both of those teams. But you never know.
Well, the last thing you need if you're Washington is a late season collapse.
Yes.
And that is very possible. But I think it will be Boston and Washington. All Islanders have been doing a good job of trying to get themselves back in this. I just don't think it'll be enough, especially since Washington has just been playing some solid hockey.
I mean, I don't really know too much about hockey, honestly.
It's fun to watch.
I do know that when I was a kid, I don't even know what the Dallas Stars are on here. I know they're in the Western probably.
Yes.
So,
well,
yeah.
We're going to get to
other than that, but the Bruins, obviously, I'm biased. I like the Bruins. They're the only team I really know of. Leave me alone. Shut up. Shut up. Everybody shut up. I swear to God, we can all fight. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, the Bruins, I've been a little bit biased towards them. I don't know that much about hockey anymore.
That's okay.
When I was a kid, I did because I played NHL. I played with the Dallas Stars, and I got into a fight in every game I could.
There you go. That's the way.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think the Bruins are going to pull something out, but they won't.
I mean,
win
they usually do. That's just how Boston sports magic works. It feels like at times.
Boston, we're going to get the win, dude.
But moving on to the West, the best in the West is the best in the NHL. The Colorado Avalanche, the only team in the West so far to clinch a playoff spot with 112 points.
Why does that make sense? Colorado being good at hockey.
They are just miles above everybody.
Just
and Minnesota and St. Louis.
No, absolutely.
exactly.
Minnesota and St. Louis in the battle for that 2 spot in the Central. Both teams with 96 points. It's going to come down to the wire there. Everyone's on a winning streak. It is absolutely an insane time to be in the Western Conference. I would know. Gosh darn it, Blues, please do something.
I didn't know hockey had this many games. Like,
Yeah, they
dead
play the same
serious.
as NBA.
I didn't know that, but it's a lot more physical.
It is a lot more
I don't want to get
physical.
checked. I'll tell you that right now.
Well,
I might die.
Well,
I take that back.
That's why you play football
with some
and not hockey.
experience through football, I think it would be a lot less. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'd still get murdered.
yeah.
They play with
Pure
knives.
defense guy.
They play with knives on their feet, dude.
I mean,
Like,
yeah, they do.
they don't fix their teeth when they get broken.
That's also true. Another team on a win streak, the Flames of Calgary in the Pacific Division, 99 points for the Flames, 9 points above their rival Edmonton, the Battle of Alberta. We could see that in the second round, and my goodness, if we get that matchup, that is always a fun time in the playoffs. But the Kings, the LA Kings, 88 points. They're right behind Edmonton. And then looking at our 2 wild card spots in the West, the Nashville Predators with 89 points, Dallas, the Stars with 88, meaning they would play Colorado in the first round. Nashville would play Calgary. If the season ended today, there are a few teams still left in the race here. Vancouver, the Canucks, have 82 points, but in front of them in the weird spot, the transition spot I like to call it, Vegas has 85 points. They could very easily fall. They could very easily jump up. No one knows where they're going to be. And then Vancouver, we just mentioned. Winnipeg has 81 points. They're still in the race. And the San Jose Sharks are somehow still alive with 68 points because they've only played 72 games. This will more than likely fix itself in 2 days. But as of right now, San Jose is still alive for some reason.
It'd be like that sometimes, but
If they can go away as a Blues fan, Chicago down, San Jose down, need the Kings next and the Knights next. Get them all knocked out, and somehow Colorado loses, and they have a shot.
yeah,
I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Kings will probably drop out unless they just they just do not play well for the rest of the season.
I would love it. I don't think it's going to happen.
Vegas it's weird not seeing Vegas in either the top of their division or at least second. The fact that there's a chance that they're going to get eliminated is actually kind of exciting because it's like, oh my God,
Good, get out.
It's like they're actually not going to make it because ever since their existence, they have made the playoffs every year.
Yeah, which I think is a cool story for how quick they were, pretty good. And I think they're a team that could go on a run here in the last 8 games for them and catch the Stars. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. Or even the Predators. I mean, it looks like it's more because of the 4 points, but if you compare that to another sport, that's only 2 games. And I mean, if you're sitting 2 games behind, especially like transition to baseball, then it's like, okay, this is gonna be a fun race down the stretch. So I mean, it's only 2 games back of that first wild card spot. So this is still right there for the Knights to catch either Dallas or Nashville.
Yep, and then as we end it, we got to talk about a sport that is just beginning. We're talking about a lot of sports ending. We'll give a little mention about good old baseball.
Maybe some snoofle. I'm just kidding.
We're not talking about this.
Dude, I'm watching it. They're not doing very good.
Well, I mean,
Sorry, my bad.
they're going to lose. Southern Nazarene will win and lose.
Really?
I'll say that.
Somebody's going to lose the game.
They'll go 1-1.
Yeah, nah.
Call it a day.
I get it, though.
But looking at the AL and the NL, obviously 6 games into the season, not going to go too much into divisions because there are a lot of games to play.
Oh, 100%.
176 for most of them.
That's crazy.
It really is crazy how many baseball games there are.
156.
Or 156, my bad. I was thinking 182.
That is...
If it was 182, good Lord.
Just make them play a game a year. Just
longevity
a game a
in
day
baseball,
the entire year. 365, all
That'd be
baseball.
great.
I will say
I would love
for me
that.
as a Kansas City Royals fan, it is happy to see Zach Greinke back. Even though I know it's only going to be for this 1 year. I'm not sure if he'll even continue beyond. But it's like for me, it's fun to see a great player come back. And Royals, not any big expectations. If they can at least have a winning record, I'm be a happy boy as long as they're not last in the division. But that's just me personally. But obviously you have obviously it's way early in the season, so obviously you don't know how things are going to turn out. Everyone is pretty much has almost identical records. No one's really overpowered anyone by far.
Yeah. And then for the Cardinals, I guess we can all just kind of go by team expectations or what's going on so far. For the Cardinals, things are going good. Obviously, 3-1. Albert Pujols hit a home run. Albert Pujols is back. Life's good. I can say that right now.
What's his last name?
Pujols.
Pujols.
Yeah.
No, I was literally asking. I
Okay.
didn't hear it.
Okay. I most people who, even when they do know baseball, I'll say Albert Pujols, and I always say that
Pujols?
every time.
Pujol?
Every single time. And
I'm sorry, I'm a child. I apologize.
It's okay.
Y'all, yeah.
It's okay. I've met people who are in their 30s and they'll go, and it's just like, really?
Dude, I mean,
I
you
feel
got
like I'm
always
the
laugh.
only one who does not. I'm like one of the few
Dude,
people who don't do that.
If you don't laugh at a poo joke, man, at this point, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you need to laugh at a poo joke, man.
I don't know.
It's cathartic.
So
Sorry.
it's like,
Go ahead.
that kind of, it's like,
Yeah.
no one really makes that joke.
Yeah.
Joke where
I mean, when someone says poo hole, obviously, I'm going to be like,
Okay, are we trying to get on a record for weirdest tangent we've had?
I'm
on
sorry,
this
my
shit?
bad. No, we've had worse, I think.
We have had
we
worse,
did
I
have worse.
think.
We
have
did
had
have
worse.
worse. Me and Connor went on like a 30-minute tangent about never mind. Go ahead.
Let's not bring that tangent back up again.
We're good.
But the Cardinals are playing well right now. Obviously, just 4 games into the season.
Yep.
Liking what I've seen so far. Nolan Arenado playing amazing.
Best player on that team.
What do you expect to see? Goldschmidt doing his thing, everyone doing their thing, Harrison Bader playing great defense. What a surprise there.
Yep.
Got a lot of Gold Glove winners on that team. What a shocker.
Cardinals always have the most likable team.
They do.
For like a non-Cardinals fan, they always have like my favorite players.
Yes.
I don't know what it is.
They're
but
fun.
Ever since Scott Rowland was traded to St. Louis, they've always had some of my favorite guys.
They're just likable.
Like I always talked up Nolan Arenado when he was in Colorado. Of course, he ends up in St. Louis. Paul Goldschmidt was like my favorite first baseman. He finds his way out to St. Louis. Like for whatever reason, like
it's like personally for me, it's like as a Royals fan, obviously don't like the Cardinals, but I don't really dislike any of the players on the team.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really dislike any of these players. I actually do enjoy them. I just don't want their team to win. That's basically me.
No, for whatever reason, they always got them and the Cincinnati Reds. They always have like the most likable players.
That's a solid.
Yeah.
Like for whatever reason, I don't know what it is.
That's how I am with Connor. The way you are towards the Cubs. That's how I am towards the Reds. I like you guys. No, go suffer.
I like you, but
Go suffer, just not as much as the Cubs, so slightly less.
it's like never mind. But no, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, first game I ever went to, like MLB game, was a Philadelphia Phillies and Reds game.
Yep.
And it was the most fun I think I've ever had.
Yeah.
Because it was an electric game the whole time. What is it? It was 2012. I can't remember who was on the Phillies at the time.
I can tell.
Andrew, do you want to answer that?
Andrew can
Go
tell
ahead,
you.
like 2010. I think it was
Local
2010 to like
Philadelphia.
11 to 12. I can't. It was in those 2 years.
Yeah, that have been the Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, Cole
Chase
Hamels days.
Utley. That's who it was. He gave me a ball after the game. That's why I like the Phillies.
There you go. There you go.
I'm a diehard Phillies fan.
I don't know what
You
happened.
are indeed a
I don't
Philly
know what
fanatic.
I don't know
You
what
are a
happened to
Philly
it, man.
fanatic.
The ball is signed, and I lost it like 2 years ago.
How did you
That's
lose?
like a stab in my chest.
How you think I feel?
Just
No.
hearing that story, like
The game I went to though was really fun. Cause they were in the for some reason I think it was a shortstop. I think I don't remember what he was exactly. I didn't
Second
really
base,
second base.
Jimmy Rollins was shortstop.
Okay, that's true. Well, he was out there for some reason out in the outfield playing catch. Don't know why. Just came out there. I'm like little 10-year-old me, like looking like with a bobblehead, just huge, standing like, "Give me a ball." He looks at me and he goes, okay.
Oh, that's great.
Dude, I was a little boy.
That was one of my most favorite games I ever went to. Was a Phillies Reds game. So
Was
it's
it
funny
really?
to bring that
It's
up.
so much fun. We were out in the outfield in left field at the Philly Stadium.
Okay, I would have been down. I was down at the first baseline. Phillies were down 7-1 in the ninth inning and came back and won in 10 innings.
Oh my gosh!
Please tell me that was the game you were,
Were we
at.
at the same game?
I don't know. I was at that game. I don't know if you were at that game, but I can confirm that was one of the most fun games I've ever been to. It was right around July 4th.
Because they hit to start off the inning. He slammed a home run into left field.
Yeah, that's the one of the main.
Such a small world.
It really is a small
It
world.
was around July 4th. I do remember because it was a 7-1 game, and one of the main reasons everybody stayed in that park was because there's fireworks after the game. It was like a July 3rd game.
Oh my God!
You two really were at the same
I
game.
literally have pictures on a flip phone of me at the game on that exact day.
Okay, we're gonna need that for next show.
I
I'll
don't know
never
what
forget it because Ryan Howard hit a walk-off home run in that game.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That was, dude, I'm telling you.
I can't believe we're at the same game. That is
No, it literally, like, I thought about it. I thought it was 09 at first. And I realized I was 10 years old. I was about to turn 11 in 8 days.
Yep.
So I was 10 years old. It was 2010.
Yep.
It was July 3rd, July 4th, because we were up there because we took a trip. We took a trip there.
Yep.
Like, July 5th, we went to New York. Took
Yep.
an L train to New York.
Mm-hmm.
That's...
What
Yep.
are the chances of that?
Yeah.
That-
what are
that's
the
actually
chances
insane.
of that? That is.
The moment you said like one of the most exciting games, and I was like, I wonder if, because like I will never forget that game. So the moment you said that, I was like, I wonder if this is.
The reason why I remembered it is because we were like, man, let's go now, because we went during the summer. I didn't remember what day it was until you said Reds Phillies 2010. And I thought about it. I was like, I was in left field before that when they were hitting BP,
Okay.
and they were just absolutely nuking these out of the ball. Like,
Especially in July.
oh
That-
my gosh, it wasn't even that hot. That was the best part.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, the fireworks after, man. Oh my gosh.
That's.
But no, yeah, it was a fun time.
Well, I'm glad you both had fun at that game.
Yeah, it's really weird that we were at the same game, same time, in a completely different state.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've had my fair share of Cardinals games and Cardinals Royals games, whether it be at Busch or at Kauffman. Always a fun time, except for the one time they lost, and then I had to have a 20-minute walk back to Kauffman or from Kauffman to our hotel. That was not a fun time. But
Man,
other
you've
than
traveled a lot of places for sports to watch, haven't you?
baseball, not really. I've only been to 3 ballparks.
Yeah.
But I mean that's still.
I've never been to an NFL game.
I've never been to an NFL
never
game
been
either.
to an
I've been
football
to
game.
every major league sport besides NFL.
Yeah, I've never been to NFL. I've been
I still have
I've
yet-
been to Jerry World to see OU play in a Big 12 title game, but I've never been.
That's true.
It's like I've been to Jerry World for the Cotton Bowl,
Mm.
or that's pretty much it.
Cotton Bowl is
Or,
the
or
fake
actually,
Cotton Bowl.
Not
the real
when
one.
they called it the Cotton.
I know.
It was like
The real Cotton Bowls at the State Fair.
then I did go to the game
It's
when
my
OSU
dope.
played Florida State when last year
That was a
James
good
Winston
game.
was there. That was a fun
2015,
game.
right?
It was
14.
14.
Yeah, it was 14.
Would it have been 2015?
No, because
No,
It was
Okay.
14.
It was
the
14.
Year,
It
the year
was,
before
because
I
that was
went
the
to
chaos.
OSU.
because
Yeah,
O-
that's true.
because
Before I went to
OSU
OSU.
actually had a promising start, but then Walsh got hurt, and then that pretty much resulted in a lot of other things going
Yeah.
wrong.
That was, man.
I've
These
been-
are bringing up a lot of repressed memories.
I've been to 3 Eagles games. That is the only NFL
Really?
games I've ever been to.
Dude, lucky.
it was like,
When you grow, when you grow
I'll go
up,
to- I'll go to
when
any
you grow
game.
up 30 minutes from the stadium, you gotta.
Yeah,
you gotta
that's
get
true,
to
that's
the
true.
games.
Be like Vince Papale, you can go try out. But no, it's man. That's awesome. Like you said, the Cotton Bowl's at the State Fair.
yes,
You can't ever beat it, man.
can't beat it.
If
That
y'all-
is a world class
Like
experience.
whoever's listening, I don't know who's listening. If y'all hear it, go to one of those games. The
Just-
tickets aren't super expensive.
Yeah, go to an OU. Everyone should see that at least once in their life if they're
Yeah.
they're a college sports
The
fan. in
Texas State
general.
Fair, probably one of the most fun things you can go do.
Yeah,
I know it's like really country and kind of out there, and a lot of people go just for the game.
just don't go to Fair Park after night.
No.
Don't do that unless you value 0% of your life.
Like
This-
2%. Like you can like prepare yourself a little bit, but it is Texas, so everyone carries.
That
You
is
gotta think
true.
about that. Like you gotta think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that wasn't gonna happen. He would have got.
I would
blown
hope
away.
not.
He would have got blown away at the Texas State Fair, bro. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, okay,
Hey,
well,
go ahead. We were talking about that, and I was saying.
that's the most random.
well, everyone carries it. That's
I
why I
know.
brought it up.
I know.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. Like you said.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many fun places we could talk. If we did a stream just talking about places we've been and games we've been to, I mean, I could talk about going to Seattle to see OU Washington, see some guy named Sam Bradford starting.
There we go.
You know,
Okay,
it was
so-
a good time.
So SNU's backups just scored on their starters.
That's always a good start.
That's hilarious because their starters got shut out the first one.
That's always a great sign.
When I played in the red and white game, I played with the white jersey, which means you were like the second guy.
Yep.
You were the second guy. So basically, when they play, when your starters are getting macked on by second stringers,
Yeah.
that's when you need to know your. I'm sorry, I'm just on a tangent.
Hey, it's okay. I would say we're just getting to the Phillies, and then we talked about Phillies
Yeah.
games. So I
Well,
mean,
yeah, that is
Philly-
crazy though.
Philadelphia 3-3. Andrew, how is everything going over in the NL East? I guess.
In terms of the Phillies, I'm not worried yet. It's been really weird. You know, we bought into all the offensive players, and to start the season, it's been the opposite. The pitching's been phenomenal. The offense has struggled. So I think, we'll be fine once the big hitters in Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, and Bryce Harper get going. Slow start to the year. I'm not worried in that. I think it's funny the Braves have started off slow. I mean, it's probably the World Series hangover you always see. But I think right now, the way the standings, it's going to change completely by the end. Mets got off to a hot start, but that will fall apart.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well,
Let's go Mets. Miracle Mets.
No.
That's
So you're a
it.
Phillies fan.
Let's indeed not
The
do
Miracle
that.
Mets, baby. So we're ending this with an ASMR stream, right?
No.
Oh, my bad.
Never.
Okay, so I assume.
This is not
my
allowed.
bad. Where's the ear mic?
Okay. No. we're not doing that.
Okay,
Oh my
guys.
goodness! I do want to end though with the Northwestern spring game. Obviously, this Saturday,
Yep.
3:00, Ranger Field.
Show up.
Whoever's listening, if you can show up to that game, I would be there. Andrew? You would know more about this than me. Probably. Are we streaming the game anywhere? Are we? What is our coverage around the Northwestern spring game? Is it just if you're there, you're there.
Yeah,
if you're not
right
there,
now, it's if you're there, you're there. It's
yeah.
3:00 on Saturday, then they got a fun barbecue event after, so
Yep.
that'll be a fun time. And before that, there's softball too at noon. So
Shoot, y'all come join us in the
Go.
tiers, man.
go out and support Ranger Athletics. But no, yeah, the spring game will be fun. It's at 3. I'll be in the press box if you want to come see me.
I really wish you guys would be able to actually change those windows so you can actually hear what's going on the outside.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Because that's led to a lot of miscommunication between can the band play or they actually gonna play music.
Yeah.
Because
the band needs to get
because
moved
I
out a
believe
little bit.
Andrew, from what you told me, when they put those windows in, they basically made it where you can't even open them.
That's, yeah.
So that I'm like that's not a good thing because if you can't that you're going to lead to a lot of issues. Also, whoever's running the sound stuff, we need to get that fixed because it doesn't help when the mics are left on and people can hear.
Listen, there will be no band. There will only be Seven Nation Army playing for 4 hours.
I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I did the sideline stuff with you and Mr. Adair and all that, that was honestly it seemed like it was really well ran.
Yeah.
Like, really. Like from what I had seen, just one game.
Yeah,
Because we were all having a good time. It was fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was fun. It was really fun.
that's good.
So it seems like if y'all did stream it this weekend, it would be,
Yeah.
Nah, it'll be a good weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what the radio? That's not my call.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with them, but hey, it's at 3:00. I know. Hopefully, we get a good crowd out there for it. But I think they're doing an alumni thing before the spring
Yeah.
game too. They're
No,
doing
that's-
an alumni game.
I think
or
they do it
flag
every-
football game.
Ooh, I'll probably have to
for
ref
alumni.
that.
So that'll be fun time too. So a lot of
If
stuff
you
going
don't,
on.
JD, if you don't get someone on the sportsmanlike conduct,
I've thrown a tech up in basketball this
okay,
year already.
listen, if you don't eject someone from the alumni game for targeting, I'm going to be disappointed.
Dude, there probably will be a targeting call for being honest.
Targeting, that's going to be 15 yards. That's
But,
going to be eject. Get
yeah.
out of here. I am the review.
Stream it, honestly. I know that sounds bad, me trying to tell you what to do. Like if you streamed it, I feel like because they've got a lot of recruits that would like to make it,
Yeah.
and they've picked up some dudes this year that are probably gonna have to watch it, and they're gonna
More
watch it, but they
likely.
can't drive because they're from different states and they don't want to drive up. They don't want to make the
Yeah.
trip yet. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I understand that.
But like, yeah, that would help out the program a little bit.
I think so.
Yeah,
But
give them a little pat on the back. You know what I mean?
exactly. Other than that, I mean, any final thoughts for anyone on today? We've kind of talked about literally everything, I guess.
Snooze still sucks.
Let's go Sixers.
That's a good point.
There you go. Luka, please come back. Please do
Please.
not destroy your calf. Hopefully everything goes well. Let's go Mavs.
Jalen Brunson
Mavs
got
fan-
you. Don't worry.
Mavs fans for life. Spencer
I want-
Winwitty, please save us with Jalen Brunson.
I want maximum chaos. That's all I want.
Okay, don't say that. That's how you get Golden State and the Lakers somehow making the playoffs for no reason. That's what happens
The
when you
Lakers
get.
don't deserve it at all.
I know. That's what I'm saying. When you get true maximum chaos, though, you get
We
weird
do need
stuff.
we do need to talk about the Lakers for like 3 seconds.
Okay,
so
we just did it.
you notice how
They didn't make the playoffs.
I know.
LOL.
You notice how
Can't believe it.
LeBron's first 2 years of the team. It's not just him, obviously, but his first 2 years of the team are always really good. First year they make it, they almost win.
Yep.
Next year they win.
Yep.
Year after that they drop.
Yep.
Year after that, drop again, and then LeBron leaves.
Mhm.
So, real talk, where y'all think he's ending up if he does get traded?
I think for
Okay.
LeBron,
Think he's going back to Cleveland?
I could see him doing it as like I'm back part 2, which would be weird.
It would be weird.
I really think he'll wait to see wherever his son goes.
That's exactly.
I think his
That's what
son.
I
I
think.
think Cleveland will grab his son just so they can get LeBron.
I could see them doing that.
Really, they'll make a trade to get him.
OKC.
Yeah, I could see OKC,
Talk-
Houston
he's-
being a factor.
I mean, every press conference he talks up Sam Presti.
He
like,
does.
I
So it's
remem-
either Sam Presti's going out to LA or LeBron's
Sam
coming to
Presti.
OKC.
Sam Presti is going to be
With
making way
Sam
too much
Presti-
money as the GM.
Sam Presti's got enough draft picks to draft his son. So
He
That's
does.
what I'm saying. Oh my gosh, Sam Presti pulled out some moves.
Mhm.
That was very surprising. I didn't.
Yeah.
He's like John Dorsey, exactly like John Dorsey. Smart, knows what he's doing. He pulled picks out of his butt. Managed to pull all this out. They've got what 17 first rounds in the next 5 years.
Yeah, it
It's
feels
worth
like
it.
4 years.
it's worth it.
Yep.
That's
It's worth
insane.
If they don't win an NBA championship with those picks, there's something going on.
Yeah, in the next 4 years,
I
3
mean-
years, OKC is going to be a contender,
They could be.
and that's going to bring so much money into the state.
They very well could be.
Oh my
all
gosh.
depends on how they use him.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel like they're smart.
Don't,
They're smart to figure it
don't
out.
draft the equivalent of Jaleel Okafor, Nerlens Noel, and
Oh my gosh.
Markel Fultz. Don't do that.
Why would you say
Andrew
that?
can tell you.
Why would you say that?
Hey, listen.
What are you doing right
Dallas is.
It's-
I
it's
consider
wrong.
OKC a rival as a Dallas fan.
now? Well,
So
you know
It's
what?
not about how
Keep
you
Texas.
draft. All you got to do is draft one good player
That's true.
and
then
draft a
you-
few good
and
role
then you
players.
use those picks to trade.
Yeah,
That's true.
there you go.
All
That's
we
true.
got Joel Embiid, who might win MVP, and then you go out and trade for James Harden
Yep.
and Tobias Harris.
There you go.
That's
I
all
can't. They got rid of Shai is what helped him out a lot too.
Yeah.
Well, I know they didn't want to because he was honestly killing it for him. But at the end of the day, they had to make a money move.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think like you said, there was rumors whenever I was a senior in high school that LeBron was coming to OKC because
Yeah.
his kid wanted to play at Heritage Hall.
Yeah.
So they're like when I was 2017 maybe
Yeah.
something like that. But we were talking about that. So
Imagine that though.
You gotta
Bronny
think.
at Heritage Hall.
it's
That
been
would-
talked about for the past. Like he said, it's been talked about for the past 3 years,
Exactly.
give or take. Like he loves Sam Presti.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Really. Like,
It was like because it was like some random press conference after. Like,
It was.
It was like, oh, Sam. It wasn't even against the Thunder. It was just
It
a
was-
Yeah,
random
it's just
game.
summer. He's like, you
And
know,
like,
Sam Presti.
Presti's such a good GM.
It was
he
like,
had to- I think what happened is they brought him up. They had to bring
Okay.
up something about his trade pickups and where his son was going to go.
Yeah.
They were talking about that, and then he led into that.
Yeah.
He wants to play 1 year with his kid.
Yes.
1 year.
Oh yeah, he's
I
gonna
can-
play 1 year and retire.
So I think what they'll do is they'll pick up Bronny.
Yeah.
They'll pick him up. They'll be like, hey, come on, you get to play with your dad.
Yeah.
And it'll be amazing.
And,
It will be.
that's why he signed the 4-year deal with the Lakers because
Yeah.
his son was entering high school, so he's gonna spend 4 years with the Lakers while his
Yeah.
son spends 4 years.
This
in
is
high
last
school.
year, right?
And then I think so.
Yeah, last year was
And
contract
then-
because first year they did okay. Second year they won. Third year they did okay, and next year they were kind
And
of
then
bad.
he'll wait to sign a free agency to wherever.
Watch him
that team goes.
bring Westbrook with him, dude. Oh my gosh.
I think he's done with Westbrook.
Anthony Davis
So-
just standing
so
behind crying.
If the Thunder re-sign Westbrook before LeBron signs, they ruined their LeBron hopes.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh man.
I like the idea of the Lakers just having fun and be like, hey, let's trade Westbrook to the Nets
It's
and
like-
just see what happens.
it's
Put him
like-
and Durant on the team just for maximum chaos.
It's like the year
purposes.
whenever we managed to get Paul George, re-sign Russell Westbrook. We kept Steven Adams.
Yep.
We had freaking Carmelo come in.
Yep.
They
That was
picked
the
up.
worst one,
They picked
that.
They picked up a young Shy.
Yep.
I think. No, that was the year after.
That was a year after.
year after. They still had a good backcourt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, they could have had a
They could have.
yeah. But now I think if they do that, they'll be better off. Honestly, the Lakers need to part with LeBron and all those guys right now and rebuild.
Yeah.
They need to rebuild.
They really. I mean, it'll be. I mean,
It's time.
the NBA offseason some years is better than the actual postseason and
Yeah.
regular season.
Yeah.
You could say.
Because there's some big moves made. man.
There's
Every
always
time.
drama. There's
Mhm.
always something random that happens. There will always be a few trades that make zero sense that happen.
That's true.
Sacramento will do something dumb in the draft, as is tradition.
That's true.
What? Yeah, you're right.
And they'll
I
trade
was like, don't tell me what.
And then they'll trade their guys for
well,
nothing.
they got Buddy Hield. I'm glad they have Buddy Hield. I think still he might have got traded for all I know.
He did. He's on the Pacers now.
Fair enough. All right, never mind. They don't have him. Stupid Sacramento.
They also got rid of Tyrese Halliburton, which made no sense
Did
to
they
get
actually?
DeMontis Sabonis.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
never
a-
mind.
Leave the Sacramento.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leave it to Sacramento to do something dumb.
Fair.
That's about as good of a notice we can hit.
California, baby.
But I do thank all of you for tuning in. It has been a wonderful time. Once again, you can give us a follow here on Twitch, subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's NWTV7, or give us a follow or like or whatever you want to do
On TikTok.
on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now even TikTok. We do have a TikTok. Just throwing it out there. We do have one. And for JD Eddy, Andrew Santangelo, Connor Gray, I'm Cade Kennedy. Have a wonderful night, everybody.